Okie dokie then, let's do that. Right, ready when you are.
All right, let's go. Let's rock and roll, man.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tiger Nexus podcast. I am, of course, your host, Ty Tiger. I hope everyone is doing well, and I hope everyone enjoys their time here. Today's guest is the co-host to the ZeotoHero Podcast. I've already interviewed one of them, Billy, beforehand, and today I've got his brother and co-host, Jim. Now, the ZeotoHero Podcast is a podcast we hold near and dear to our hearts here, because without them, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish as much as I have done, and I wouldn't have accomplished things that I'm doing, and many things that I'm doing wouldn't have come to fruition. Without the ZeotoHero Podcast, I've never met my parapetite, my best friend and business partner, Willie, aka Cosplay Dude 637, and of course, without Cosplay Dude, Tiger Tales would never existed. So a part of me is always grateful to the ZeotoHero Podcast. Of course, ZeotoHero have also interviewed people like Mark the Cornish Ranger, If You Give a Dad a Podcast, Cosplay Dude 637, and the likes. So, you know, if you want to hear them interview those guests I've had, make sure you go check them out after you've done listening to this episode. This is just me and Jim hanging out and having a good chat about all sorts of things. We dive into all sorts of different things. Jim is really knowledgeable and a lot of fun to talk about, and I'm definitely wanting him to return, especially after the conversations we had in this interview. So that being said, of course, once again, make sure you check out the ZeotoHero Podcast after this one. I love you all, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode.
Welcome to the Tiger Nexus Podcast, a place where you'll find interviews with content creators and geeks alike. Your host, Ty Tiger, has delved upon the Nexus and found interesting content creators and geeks of all fandoms. This podcast is connected to the ZeotoHero Network, and now we dive in with another episode!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tiger Nexus Podcast. I'm your host, Ty Tiger, of course, and today I am joined by the other host of ZeotoHero Podcast. I've already had Billy on once before, and today I'm joined by his brother, and the person who, may I say, manages the podcast, because he does all the technical, fancy stuff in the background. I have Jim. Hi, Jim. How are you?
See, there's no video here, and I just want to do like glamour shots. Really, you're like TV news anchors, like duh, 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 and like there's no video, so it's kind of hard to do it. I just want to like turn my chair and stop halfway and stare. Like explosions behind me because it's July 5th, like America Day.
See, you say it's July 5th, right? This is again, when it comes to, like, Americans, I say this a lot to a lot of my American friends, it's now July 6th for me.
Yeah, because you live in GMT time. You're 6 hours ahead of me.
Well, it's like Billy pointed out, I interviewed a YouTuber that I've been friends with for a very long time. I say friends, more like acquaintances, and he's in Australia, so he's 9 hours ahead of me. I was the one behind. It was so weird to be the one behind.
And 3 while so hard, right?
We recorded at midday. For me, it was 12 o'clock. For him, it was 9 o'clock at night. I was like, right, this is really bizarre.
Yeah, this, like, you're sitting there like, this makes no damn sense. No, I will say, okay, so I did a trip one time, and I was in Ireland for like a good, like, I got to Ireland, and I was on GMT time, right? Personally, I was on GMT time, the time we got there, and I was fine, completely fine. I flew back to the United States, and I'm sitting there at 4 a.m. in the morning going, I gotta go to Denny's. Like, why I gotta go to Denny's? Like, I'm awake, I'm hungry, it's lunch, let's go.
Like, literally, I have this personal rule where, like, I can message anyone in America, but I just know that I'm not going to be able to check my phone for the next 6 hours, because for me, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. For you lot, it's 3 a.m.
That's what you get for having American friends. Come on, man.
Well, try having a business partner who lives in America.
No, you gotta remember, there's technically 5 time zones in America.
That is actually true, yes.
You gotta take into consideration that most of America does daylight saving times too. Unless you got people in Arizona who don't do it, which is going to throw you off even harder if you have to work with Arizona, because they are -7 and they don't change your -7 from you, but you change from them. So you go from -7 to -9 with them.
Yeah, it was. I've had one guest on who was only 5 hours behind me, and then I had a guest on who was like 7 or 8 hours behind me,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, so even longer. So this is like people. I've had a few like guests where they're like a bit odded out why I've asked them what like where they're from, because I'm not like trying to be invasive. I'm like, I need to know what time zone you're in so I can plan my end.
Yeah, it's like, so I can be caffeinated and high. Like, I need to be caffeinated for the time we had this conversation. I mean, caffeinated. It's gonna be like 2 a.m. in the morning. Come on, man, let's go.
So it's just like I've had one part the collector actually. He was like, "Oh, well, you can record now if you want." I'm having this conversation at like 2:30 in the morning for me, and I'm like, "Dude, not happening. I'm going to bed in 20 minutes."
It's like, dude, it might be it might be 9 p.m. for you, but I am no.
Well, it's like I've recorded with you guys before, and you said to me, "Oh, we'll record for 8 p.m. for me and Billy," and I'm like, 8 p.m. for you. You do realize that's like 2 o'clock for me, 3 o'clock for me, right? I'm
Yeah,
gonna be dead.
yeah.
So I like
We're
Dr.
that kind of
Pepper,
person. But
sugar.
oh, apparently, okay. So you said Dr. Pepper, right? So apparently, Dr. Pepper, it's made in Texas, right? So apparently, like it's apparently like 2/3 Coke, 1/3 root beer.
Well, don't ruin Dr. Pepper for me because it's actually like one of my
I
favorite.
straight up tried it, man. Like I was like, you know what? I was like, let's try that. Dude, it is so close, like so close to Dr. Pepper, and I was like, okay, so we might be onto something.
Like,
Like,
literally, I think I could live off the stuff. I'm not, because I'm not dumb. I drink plenty of water. I'd have cups of tea every
you
now and
should
then.
come to Texas one time. Go to Texas once. We'll take you to the Dr. Pepper Museum and give you Dr. Pepper Bluebell ice cream, and it's gonna blow your freaking mind.
Like, I've
And then we're gonna blow your mind again. We're gonna take you to Whataburger. You're gonna get a Dr. Pepper shake from Whataburger, and you're gonna you're gonna be stuck on those like lactose pills. I have bottles here for you. You're fine. Come on down.
well, it's like,
Like,
I go live on TikTok and I have a few regulars, and whenever they come on and they see me drinking like Fanta or a cup of tea or something, they're like, "You don't have Dr. Pepper, Ty? Are you okay? Are you being held at gunpoint?"
oh
Like,
my
I
goodness.
can drink other stuff,
Like, I can want other things, people. I can.
I just find it quite amusing that I'm known as the guy drinking Dr. Pepper.
The first time, so I quit coffee for like a year, right? I didn't tell anyone I quit coffee for like a year. I didn't tell anyone. And so I went to my wife's parents' house, right? And they're like, and they always know I drink coffee. And they're like, Jim, do you want some coffee? And I'm like, I'll take a glass of water. And the sheer shock on this woman's face was like, you want what? Glass of water. Like, what? Water.
See, like, I like drinking tea, and I don't drink tea as much as people think an Englishman should drink tea. I think I have like 1 cup every couple of days, if that. But if I go down my father's house, who is religiously a tea drinker, I mean, like, I think he drinks more tea than he takes breath of air.
Wait. Does he also say God save the queen? Or now is God save the king with his pinky out when he does it? God save the queen.
No, I think he'd rather punch him in the face, but but when I go down there, my dad just automatically makes me a cup of tea because he'll know I'll drink it. And when he first met my fiance, she only has 1 cup of tea a day, if that. So when my dad's like, right, cup of tea for myself, for both my sons, and then he'll turn to my fiance and go, I ain't gonna bother asking you if you want a cup of tea. You've already had one today. Turns back around and continues making the cups of tea because he just knows she won't have. But me, I'm just like, yeah, all right. So I drink like 20 cups of tea a day down my dad's house.
Oh, that's bad.
My body vibrates.
Like that's being like that's what I used to be with coffee. I used to have coffee all the time. Like it was my drink of choice. Like I would drink coffee morning, day, and night. It was always happening. Like there's no not coffee. And when I quit cold turkey, and dude, that was like hitting a brick wall. Like I quit smoking, and quitting smoking was easier than quitting coffee.
Honestly, I've never liked coffee, and I know Mark's gonna like roll
What happened?
around
I didn't
on
just
the
quit
floor.
coffee. I quit all caffeine.
Fair.
Yeah, that hurt. It hurt really bad. There was about 2 weeks I was going to sleep at like 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
Yeah, your body would like it.
Yeah.
People say that it's not an addiction, but your body would treat it like one.
Oh
So,
no,
like,
it's a full on addiction. Like it's exactly what it is. Like you do something long enough, it becomes an addiction. So like say you eat like fried foods all the time, and then you stop eating fried foods, you start having withdrawals from it because your body craves it, and like it literally hurts you. Same with like what like same with like drinking soda. Like you stop drinking, even if it's like non-caffeinated or something like that. You stop drinking sodas, your body's gonna it's gonna crave it. Same with drugs. Like it's the same as
Yeah.
drugs. And so like you have it often, your body grows like a need for it, so it becomes a point to where you have to have it for your body to function properly. Yeah,
Yeah.
things are drugs. Everything's a drug. Yeah,
Pretty much.
everything. Like think like this. Like say like you use Instagram a lot, or like YouTube. You're always on YouTube, and like say you're not on YouTube for a day, you get really antsy, right? Like with the days you take a break from like YouTube and stuff, you get really antsy about shit. Same concept. Your brain's
I'm
addicted to it.
not going to confirm or deny that I've done that and had withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, you just get
That's
like you get really
private
agitated.
confirmation.
Yeah,
That's
get
private
agitated.
information.
No, I get it, man. I get it. Like I had to take a break from stuff, and when I took a break, it was nice. It was right after the 2020 election. I needed like right after that. I had to take a break. I took like 2 weeks off of social media, and it was really nice. After the first 4 days, the first 4 days, it was just it hurt to just even like be alive. 'Cause I needed to be like on Twitter, on Instagram, on everything. After that, I deleted my Twitter. I deleted a bunch of all my social medias except for like a handful of them for the show and stuff, and that's about it.
Well, it's just
And I
like,
feel a lot better.
well, see, currently I'm kind of going through this phase of like I have to do stuff on YouTube. Willie actually gives me a bollocking all the time. Quite often he'll like snap at me like, "Dude, shut up and take a break." And it's just like, you know, I've had a conversation with you and Billy before, and I where like between 31st of October to like the 31st of March or something, I wrote, edited, recorded, uploaded 180 something stories on various Tiger Tales channels. It was almost like I was hooked on it, and I stopped for 2 weeks, and by like I stopped for 16 days. By like the 14th, 15th day, I was at a point where I'm like, do you know what? I could write something, but I kept to the 16 days. But Jesus Christ, like I honestly, it was almost like, I don't know, it was just almost like my brain just cleared. I was like, do you know what? That actually stressed me out writing that much. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And once you realize what stresses you out too, like once you see it, like once you're removed away from it long enough, and you're like, oh, like whoopsie daisy.
Well, it's just like
Yeah.
the other day, Mark came to the 300 Bros group channel. He's like, I have this idea, and he's asking if you could put on the podcast, but he wanted to like just geek out about stuff, and I have a channel where I geek about movies and TV shows and games and stuff. I was like, dude, why don't you just do it in a video form? He's like, I don't like the editing. I was like, well, just record it, send it to me, and I'll upload it to my channel. And he's like, all right, I'll do that then. And then me and Willie had a conversation about his reaction videos. And I'm like, well, put him on my reaction channel then. And like, I'm now grateful because Willie uploads Storytime of Cosplay 267 on Tiger Tales now. It's no longer a podcast, it's on Tiger Tales.
Yeah.
So that's 3 channels of mine now where I'm going to have other people uploading stuff. So if there's ever a time where I'm like, I don't think I could physically do this because I'm too stressed, I have other people I can go, boys, I kind of need you to do a video here.
You have a you reliable source of extra hands for content.
Yep. Well, it's just like,
Yes.
like, I'm not gonna lie, finding guests for this podcast the last couple of weeks has actually been kind of hard. And within like the last couple of days, I've had my friend James, who's been on the podcast a couple of times, and then Willie both go to me, if you need an episode, let me know, and we'll find something to talk about for an hour. I'm like, okay, fair enough. At least I know that I've got like some fallback, you know, if I ever need to.
Well,
Because
if you want to have me on and talk about technical things, let me know. If I'm free, I'll be on.
Do you know what?
I can give.
Because we spoke, you mentioned how like Billy can ramble on about Demon Slayer. I'm now really tempted to ask Billy and go, dude, when you've got like an hour or two free, can you like air quote educate? Cause I've never watched it. Like never touched Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
So I thought like maybe Billy, because I did an episode where Willie educated me about Shadowhunters. So I was like, maybe Billy could educate me about Demon Slayer. We can turn it into an episode. That'd be dope.
He would do it. Yeah, let him know. He'll do it with you, man. Like he's super into Demon Slayer, and I'm 100% on board with this because before he got the Demon Slayer, before he got into like collecting and anime and stuff, he was like one of those guys but he wasn't very good at being the guy's guy. Like he was like a car guy, but he wasn't like he had fun doing it. But then like the groups and the people he was hanging out with was never really positive in his life, so it kind of ruined him. Like it ruined his perspective on like the world. And then he finally, I gave him some toys and started collecting. And then he started getting more and more into collecting stuff. So he started getting into anime, and he started watching Demon Slayer. And he was like, "Oh, this show is awesome." I'm like, "Okay, cool, yeah, awesome. I'll watch it with you." And he really got into it. And then he met like people like you, Willie, Ben, Sam. Oh, rest her soul, please, rest her soul. And just good people to be around. He met some good people to be around. Like A Crowd, like people to the Discord. He got on the TikTok. He met some really amazing people on TikTok. And like you've talked to him now, and he's in a really positive headspace, and like he's doing super well with himself. He's saving money, not all the time, but he's trying to save money. Damn those people who make toys.
Have you seen his toy collection? Hang on a minute.
Well, he's doing good. Like he's in a good he's in a good spot. Like when he was a car guy, it was rough. Like it was rough hanging out with him. But since he's moved on from being a car guy, he's got to learn new things. And like he got into Demon Slayer. He knows everything there is to know about Demon Slayer up to this point in like the anime. He hasn't read the manga yet, but he's up to this point in the anime, and he loves it. He could name off every freaking Hashira, and like everything that's happening. It is so cool, and I'm 100% on board with it. And like he's figured out other new things. Like he watches Gridman now, not Gridman, Ultraman. He watches the Godzilla movies. He's super in the nerd culture, and he loves it. And it just lets him be like the smart kid he never got to be. That makes any sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
He's smart. He's a smart dude. He never got to be a smart guy.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I've always been into story writing. I have won competitions in school and all sorts of stuff, but I never did anything with it. And I would have paper pads just filled with ideas and characters and all sorts of stuff. And then obviously I met Willie for you guys and Mark and everything. And when I saw the fact that he was uploading his stories as audio dramas or whatever you want to call them, I was like, hang on, that's a thing? People do this? I didn't even realize like that would be that never occurred to me. So now me and Willie are like, fucking brothers. And now I'm at a point where whatever I come up with, and I'm good at writing too. I've proven myself. I think that's the one thing I'll put my hand up and go, yeah, I'm damn good at it. And now it's a case of I have Willie, Mark, and A Crown all message me often and go, Ty, I need your help with this. And Willie boasts about me a lot now. He's like, ask Ty. Because I can help. I can come up with stories and characters like that. I'm now known as the naming person because I come up with like very cool names for things and stuff like this. And like, I'm now just really enjoying the whole fact that I create audio dramas and voice actors. Never occurred to me to have voice actors until I listened to Fairy Tale, the story that Willie had with all the voice actors and stuff. I was like, hey, that's a good idea, but where would I fucking start? And Mutants for Hire became a thing. And like, it's just like, I never had a friend before who was into story writing. And I think that's why me and Willie kind of gelled together so well, because like, I don't think like
you met your muse.
I don't think Willie's ever really had someone like me either, so I think that's why we gelled so well together.
It's you're finding your people, and that's the nicest thing with the internet. It helps people find their people. Yeah, and absolutely. Like, dude, you get to talk about stuff you don't talk about, like your family and stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure if you talked about like stories and stuff like that with like your dad or like your mom and like it ain't like other people around you, they're like, oh, cool, yeah, all right, that's pretty fun. But like Willie's like, yeah, that's great. Tell me more.
Literally, no, honestly, that's what it's like. So like, my mother is one of my voice actresses. She voice actresses Felicity Hart, the news reporter in Mutants for Hire, but that's going to have to change soon because she's moving within the next year or two, and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to have to do something there because she's a dog trainer and her business is getting really big, so she's moving to help more people, which is great. But I'm like, all right, cool. And like, no one really in my family like pay attention, which is fine. I completely get it. But the fact that like Willie's there and I can just message him going, dude, I have this. Like, I have a new project coming out soon, and Willie's been helping me with it. And as soon as I told him what the project was, instantly he was like, dude, this is fucking 100% awesome.
Right? He was like, yep, let's do it. I'm your ride or die.
Yeah, literally. He was like, dude, this is epic. I'm like,
It's like, we are 100% on board with this. Well, let's go. What? Let's go.
But it's like me and Willie have had this conversation. We so want Mark to like continue the whole writing thing, and sometimes not everyone's as fast as me. I'm the speedy writer. Willie's the medium, and Mark's the slow one, which is completely fine. But like we so want Mark to continue.
Mark is the slow one.
Yes, he is.
Mark, I'm like, okay, buddy.
It was just like A-Crown's really good at writing too. Like I've narrated 2 of his stories, and bloody hell, the guy's got some good ideas.
Mm-hmm. But he also grew up in a small little town where the only real good job is a Walmart. So,
see, yeah. I think A-Crown's actually told me that I'm one of, like, when it comes to everyone he's met through like the ZeotoHero people, I'm one of the people he talks to the most. I was like, how come I'm one of these people? He's like, dude, because all the story stuff. I was like, I'm the Willie to him to what Willie is to me. I was like, that makes sense. Okay, fair enough. And I love talking to A-Crown. He's great.
Super nice. I actually met him in person a few months ago. Nice. Yeah, we went for we were up in Alabama, and he lives near Alabama. And so we, on the drive back, we literally drive through his town on the drive back. I was like, hey, man, we're going to drive through town. You just go grab breakfast real quick. Like, we're leaving at 5. We'll be there at 8. And so we met him for breakfast. And he's super nice. He's awkward as all get out because, all of us nerd people are awkward at first.
Oh, yeah. God, yeah. Like,
well, you got people like me who's like magnanimous. I'm like, yes, everyone is my friend. And everyone else is like, what the hell?
Like, when I first met Mark, I'm really glad we met him the night before the Comic-Con, because Mark had to hang out with me for the first time in person. My friend James, he's never spoken to, and then my fiance, who he is acquainted with. And for the first 5 minutes, me and Mark were a bit just twiddling our thumbs, well, this is a bit weird, isn't it?
You're like, Ty, phone home. He's like throwing candy at you. No, don't phone home.
And this is why we agreed to get food the night before, because we just went and grabbed some grub and we just ate together, because it sparks conversation. You can get a bit more. And then Comic-Con was great, and I'm really glad we hung out the night before just for an hour or two, because then Comic-Con was just a breeze. It was just so much fun hanging out with him and stuff.
So we met Ben, right? Ben came down to my place where I lived on the other side of town for the Comic-Con that's happening tomorrow, right? Last year. And so he comes down and he's awkward, Billy's awkward, I'm a little awkward. And so we're driving to Comic-Con and we're all being awkward in the car. And then we end up talking about sports, which they know I don't care about sports. And they're just having they have this full conversation about sports. And then they start, it's like Power Rangers. And then and I was like, Kimberly's supposed to be there. They're like, oh yeah, Kimberly's supposed to be there. And they start talking to Kimberly, and I'm like, guys, come on now. We knew about this weeks in advance. And they were just so awkward, and it was really funny, but man, there's once he finally warmed up, once they got him fed, he was way more want to hang out and talk. But till we got him fed, he was just weird. But it's Ben's super nice, but he just drove 6 hours that day. Jeez. Already to get down to my place. Yeah, that's a day trip, man. 6 hours is a day trip. Maybe stay overnight, drive back.
Honestly, see, that's something else. When I say you Americans are built different, right? So me and Willie had this conversation of what would be easier, us going to them to meet them or them coming to the UK to meet them. And so they were discussing how they'd have to bring Xander and Ruthie, their two their kids, the 2 that live with them anyway. And I was like, awesome, because I'm friends with Xander. And Ruthie says hello to me whenever I'm on the Discord call with Willie. And I was like, cool. So me and Ruthie have met a couple of times, and so me and Rita were talking about it, and Rita was asking me questions about okay, what airport, this, that, and the other. And they want to go through London because Ruthie's a massive for London culture and architecture and stuff, which is cool. And I said,
what are they called? Damn it! There's actually a name for it. Hold on. Keep going. I'm gonna look the name up. Keep going. I'm listening.
And so I said to Rita, I was like, you do realize from my house to London is gonna be a 5.5 hour trip to 6 hours. And Rita's instant response was, yeah, we do that just to get dinner. I was like, what? You do that just to get food? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, you lot are built different, because if we do a 5.5 to 6 hour trip, we're dead for the rest of the day. We don't move, we're comatose.
Yeah, I left work here at 5, right? So I drove 30 minutes to pick up Liz. She was at home, because she got off at 5 too, and then we drove 2.5 hours to get dinner. So we got there at 7:30. No, it took us an hour and 50 minutes to get there. So we got there at 7:30 ish, and all of us. Billy was freaking a punk and didn't want to go out there, but we met up with an old friend of ours, and we all drove like 2 hours to get there, and it was. The blast. But yeah, no, 2 hours. Yeah, it's nothing. That we drove there overnight and drove back the same night.
See, that's just mental.
Yeah, we got back at like 11, and then I got to go to work the next day.
See, I freak out a lot of my American, our American friends, because I'm the one who stays up late because, okay, I have a son, but my fiance is really good with him. Like, he adores her like his own mother. They have a really good bond and everything. She's known him like all his life practically. She's a really good stepmother to him and stuff. So if I say to her one night, look, I'm gonna have to stay up tonight, I've got editing to do or a podcast, whatever, she's like, yeah, cool, I've got Logan. All right, awesome. So like, there's some nights where I'll message Jared or Willie or something. They're like, dude, it's 11 o'clock for us. What time is it for you? I'm like, almost 5 a.m. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing awake? I'm like, all right, I can just run on this. Like, I freaked out Jared before because it was like, I think for him, it was like 10, like for you, like, it was like 10 p.m. So for me, that's like gone 4. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm just sat at my office editing. It's all good.
So the name is called Anglophiles. Sorry.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I look it up. I was like, I know it's something. It became a thing when the Beatles were a thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was trying to remember what it's called. But yeah, no, dude, like we're just long car drives are a thing here because we don't have train infrastructure here. We don't. We do, but it's for moving cargo. That's about it.
Yeah.
Like passenger trains. I wish we had more trains. I really do. And like I live in DFW, we're one of the best train and public transport systems in the country. And yet, like, it's easier for me to still drive a car. It's much easier for me to drive a car. Like we have 2 vehicles. Like I have a car and my wife has a truck. And so we had 2 vehicles. And like that's the norm here.
See, that's really strange as well. There are some people I know that have 2 cars. My family, Laura assistant actually has 2 cars because she'll go like up country 4 hours one direction, and our partner will go 6 hours the other direction on the same day to go to 2 different court sessions. That's fair enough. But like,
that makes sense for them.
Yeah, but it's just like people having 2 cars. If there isn't like a solid, valuable reason, it's really strange to most people.
Yeah, like you not owning a car in the United States is weird. Like there's only a handful of places in the United States where you can live without owning a car. And that's like San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, Buffalo, and like a few other major cities like DC and like Denver. Like a handful of places you can live without owning a car right out. Because the public transport systems are so good. Comparatively, they're okay. And they're also like small enough to get around. So like DC is actually like 12 square miles total. And same like New York. New York's like 13 square miles. And LA is like, I think 19 square miles, something like that. It's ridiculously small. But so many people live there, it's all crap packed in there. But yeah. So like you can get across town and like they have these ideas of like rough ideas like 15-minute city like towns within the cities. So like everything you need's within like 15-20 minute walk.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for them not have to have a car because you can walk to get most stuff you need, which is fantastic. And so the rest of the United States is not built like that. Everything else is just spiraling like parking lots. Like if you come here, like we'll take you to a Walmart parking lot and it's gonna blow your goddamn mind. You're like, how is there like I will take you to a Costco parking lot and you're gonna understand how the metrics work at Costco parking lots. You're gonna sit there, like we'll drive up and you're like, okay, cool. You look out the window, you're like, what the hell is this? And you'll see parking lot for miles.
Damn.
Miles of parking lot.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Like traveling around the UK, well, like I said, like where I live in a very small village. Closest town is 20 minutes away, and then the closest city is like an hour away-ish.
Yeah.
So like we got to drive most places. There are buses that you can catch, but because I live in such a small little area on the side of a road, the buses are very few. I think there's 5 buses a day that you can catch, if that.
It's a 5 buses a day.
Yeah.
Like, so there's some places here that buses don't exist. Some places out
Mm.
here.
And then like if you
Like
want to get a taxi, that's just ridiculous price. So
we were in a town, a pretty big small town, right? And the closest next big town is an hour away. There's no public transit for the entire city at all. None. There's nothing. The bus, nothing. And yeah, it does not exist in here. Like nothing was built around owning. Like everything was built around owning a car. Everything here is, and it's ridiculous. But
yeah, I'm grateful that like my fiance drives and everything because with
yeah.
a 5-year-old child it just comes in handy.
Yeah, right, right, and like I know you live like a smaller town, and so like it's easier to have someone not on call, but have someone available to take you places if you need to go somewhere, who
Yeah,
can help out and do all the stuff you need to do. And like for a little bit there, me and Liz, we survived on one vehicle for a while, but I would travel so much, I was always gone, so I didn't really need a car because I traveled. They got a rental car. They always give me a rental car, and so it was great. I got a rental, and I had to worry about having a vehicle. But then COVID happened, and then we were thinking about like we need to get another car because Liz went to an office, and I had to go do other things, and so I had to take her to the office and drive back, take the truck, and put miles on it to do other stuff. It was crazy. It was a weird time in our lives, and we're like, well, we should go buy another car because it would make life way easier.
see, I love not comparing, but I love like just looking at how America works
Comparing,
compared to like
contrasting how American UK are.
this is like one of the things I really want to do, and this is going to sound really sad. I don't care, but one of the things I want to do is go to somewhere in America where I can stand and be in 2 different time zones at the same time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
So
that's
how
just
it
really
works?
cool to me.
How it works is so there's leeway on both sides of the time zone shift. There's like 15 like miles on both sides. Like for the most part, like within that 50 miles, you could be on either time. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, no, it's really fun. Like it's technically time travel, technically in the most technical terms.
Well, it's just like
Yeah.
it's like that scene from Paul where they're both stood on the road. And they're like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and they just jump back and
Yeah,
forth
yeah.
between the two. I was like,
Because
see,
yeah, yeah,
that I want to do.
the whole of England's in one time. Most of Europe's in the same time zone too. That's the weird part. Like you
Yeah,
guys, only, I think what the time shift is like over there by Germany, past Germany, like where you get out of the same time zone. Because GMT is like a huge chunk
yep.
of Europe because it's UK, Ireland, Scotland, Spain, France, and then all the nonsense stuff in between
There
is
might
all
be
right there.
there might be like the odd hour or two difference. Like my
Yeah,
fiance's sister travels a lot, and there's quite often like she'll go to like she's not even on the plane for 2 hours or such, but
yeah.
she's like now an hour ahead of us or something like
Hmm.
that. Not even an hour ahead of us and stuff. So there might be like the odd hour or so, but yeah, we're all around about the same sort of like time
Yeah,
zone.
and you don't ever think about it either because you know it's so close. You don't even think about it.
Yeah,
Well, you got
exactly.
over here. We got 5 time zones over here, and one's in Hawaii, which is neg 9.5, something like that. It's ridiculous.
It was like my fiance and her sister went to Disneyland Florida last August, and so
Oh yeah,
because she went to Florida, obviously she's now behind me, and she was like, "How are we gonna deal with this?" I was like, "You do realize I talk to Americans every single day. I'm used to the whole time zone different thing. It's fine. I also
the
stay up
time zone thing
stupidly
is
late.
not that weird. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's
Now
it's not
you know
hard to
what's
adjust.
really weird is if you have a place that doesn't have a time zone at all. That's humongous, like China, because China has one time zone. The entire country is on one time zone.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, it goes through 4 times. It's all in one time zone. That's crazy. So you know that time zones were a thing, became a thing, because of us.
Why? Because you're so like the country's so big.
Kind of, yeah. So like they started doing trains, right? And the trains, because it was easier to do the trains with time zone shifts than all trains going all at the same time. It was really weird. So the time zones became a thing because of the United States train system, which is completely in disarray now. But okay, cool.
Fair. I like watching videos where like people are like I watched a video the other day where someone had the longest birthday possible because he traveled around the world, like taking planes to different places, but making it so the date was always the same. So like his birthday actually for him lasted longer than 24 hours technically. And I was like, that's actually kind of cool that someone can do that.
So one guy did this thing where he did so he has an Apple Watch, and Apple Watches have this feature where it tracks your stand time. So like you stand up once every hour, it's like, oh hey, you got an achievement for standing up once every 1 hour, at least that. And so it'll tell you that you stood at least once. And he's like, how many times? Like how many time zones can I hit? He got 28 time zones, like 28 times in one 24-hour period.
Jeez, that's awesome.
Yeah. MKBD, MKBD, uh, is a tech YouTuber. He's fantastic. Marquise Brown, yeah, he's amazing. Highly recommend his stuff to anyone who's a tech enthusiast. Go watch his stuff. Like, I think it's way better than Linus Tech Tips, but it's just who you'd prefer kind of thing. Go watch stuff, have fun, learn new technologies. People learn them.
Yeah, it's quite odd that we still live in a day and age where, people, I'm not saying that everyone should know how to work stuff, but like to this day I would still get questions of people like, Ty, how do I do this? I'm like, isn't this common knowledge by now? We're in 2024.
What I'm afraid of is the kids coming up, right? Don't know how to use modern computers. They know how to use iPads and Chromebooks. That's what they know how to use very well. iPads and Chromebooks. With regular computers, no clue. And it's going to be a conversation that we had, like, this is a keyboard, this is a mouse, this is how you work a file system. So you know and understand that you can copy and paste within this file system. Because iPad OS has a really wonky file transfer feature, but it's really wonky. It's not like Windows or Mac OS or Linux. It's really weird. And most kids are learning iPad OS, so they know iPads. They know iPads and tablets, like Android tablets. They know it very well. Because the schools are doing that now. It's all going that way, and so they don't know and understand how to use a real operating system.
Luckily for my child, I despise Apple. Lucky for me, like for my child, I despise Apple. So because I don't have anything Apple in my house.
I used to hate Apple with a passion. I used to hate Apple, horribly hate Apple. And then I got a MacBook from a friend. They're like, here, you can have it. I was like, fine, I'll learn it because I need to know Mac OS because I'm going to become a repair tech. I need to know how to work both systems. So I got Mac OS. And you know what sold me on Mac OS?
It's gonna be like something really stupid now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's so dumb. The freaking trackpad. The trackpad sold me on Mac OS. Oh Fair. My god. Okay, so like it's a small trackpad compared to today's trackpads, but it was still amazing. It had multi-gesture support and everything already caked into the system. I didn't have to worry about it. It worked. And then I realized how you delete apps is you just go to the app folder and delete them. That's how it freaking works. And I'm like, no, it can't be that easy. It can't. Oh, it is that easy. All right, cool. Sold me on Mac. Now I have an iPhone, a MacBook, Apple Watch, AirPods, an iPad, multiple iPads, and but all my servers are on Linux. So
you say about how you're worried like kids are only using iPads and stuff, and they're not ever going to learn how to work with PCs and things. Funny enough, my father actually messaged me the other day going, "Oh hey Ty, I had to get a new phone." I was like, "Oh, what happened to your iPhone?" And he broke it or something. So he's borrowed a really old Android off his ex partner, the mother to my brothers, and about 3 or 4 days later, he's messaged me going, I got locked out of my phone. I was like, how the fuck did you lock out your phone? He's like, couldn't remember the password. I was like, oh, because he's used to the iPhones that have better, face recognition and thumb recognition.
Oh, yeah, the Face ID stuff is kind of fun.
He does all the ID, and it's like, I've been locked out of my Android. And he actually mentioned going, I hate Android. I was like, Dad, for fuck's sake. He's so used to iPhones, it's unreal.
Android, you just get that freaking pattern lock out there. You'll be fine. Do a pattern lock. If you want numbers, do a damn number lock. It's fine.
Well, I have a number pin in my thumb. I can scan my thumb on my side of my phone and unlocks it.
Okay. The one phone so I've been using iPhone for a while, and it had Touch ID, and then it got Face ID, right?
Yeah.
And I went to both iterations of that. So when I made the switch over, it was iPhone 6S. I made the switch over then, and it was fantastic. Because you just pull out your pocket. As you pull out your pocket, you hit the Touch ID, and it worked. But before that, I had a Google Pixel. I had a Google Pixel XL. No, at some point I got a Google Pixel, and I was using Google Pixel, and I really liked the feature where I could pull it out of my pocket, and the Touch ID was on the back of the phone.
Yeah.
And so I would hit the back of the phone, Touch ID. By the time I got to my face, it was already unlocked. It was super nice. But it was nice, and it was fun and everything, and then like I stopped liking Google tracking me as much.
Google's
So-
like, oh yeah, so you join your McDonald's. You're just like, how the fuck did you know this?
No, dude, it's bad. Like, dude, okay, so you're in the UK, and it's different in the UK, so they can't track you as much. But they have been sending all your tracking data back to the United States, and that's going to be even worse because you're supposed to. There's a law going in place on y'all's end where it's supposed to be any tracking data or personal data that's stored has to be stored in the UK. It can't be stored overseas. So that's going to be a whole thing coming up here real soon. Heads up.
It's
But-
quite gone.
But Google will track everything you do. Every time you pick up your phone, they know when you pick up your phone, you put your phone down, how long you're on your phone, how long and what height you hold your phone at, so they know like what your vision is.
Yeah.
They also look at every photo you take. Every photo you take gets uploaded to Google Photos. They see every single one of them. They get metadata from all your phones, from all your photos. They get any app you're installed, the text messages you're sending. How many texts do you send a day? What kind of text do you send a day? Do you send group messages? Do you send SMS? Do you use group MMS? Do you send RCS? RCS is encrypted. RCS is encrypted through Google servers. Not they relay it through Google servers, which it's encrypted from your phone, but not encrypted on the server. So it doesn't matter.
You just know for a fact there's a bunch of people listening to this right now, and they're going, "Oh fuck, I need to delete the porn history."
No, your private incognito window doesn't actually hide anything. It's still all sent up to Google. They know everything you're doing, man. And so it also goes off your MAC address too. So whatever you're on, so say whatever computer you're on, your MAC address is also sent to Google. So it knows what computer you're on.
Yeah.
So it all links up to what you're using from your IP address. So it knows how many computers are in your house. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, it's just like I got a new PC a little while ago, and I had to make it so like all of my, anything that requires a sign in, my PC was like the main holder of those accounts. And whilst like I was sorting all that out, I found the thing where it says like what Google signed into, how often has it been used, when was it used last, and all this jazz. I was like, holy, like it told me like a phone that I had like 4 years ago was last accessed for. I was like, Jesus Christ, that's creepy.
I will say, okay, so the main difference between Google and Apple, right? The main big difference is all your user data on Google is signed in and associated with your account.
Yep.
Everything's associated with your account. On Apple, they do the exact same shit, exact same stuff, but it's all randomized. There's nothing associated with you directly.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Yeah, so they do all the same stuff. It's just nothing is stored that could lead back to you. iMessage is encrypted from your phone to the server, and then encrypt it on the server and decrypt it on the other person's phone. So they can't see what you're sending through iMessage.
I actually find it quite funny how the episode that will be out by the time this video comes out, I talked to Xander about Naruto, and Xander made the joke of, our phones always listen to us, so now all I'm going to have is Naruto TikToks and like YouTube shorts and stuff. Less than 6 hours later of him saying that, I opened TikTok for the first time that day. Instantly, a Naruto TikTok. So I sent him that link to him and went, "Dude, you're a jackass."
Yeah, no, TikTok
that's all really I keep getting now is Naruto stuff. That's all I keep getting. I don't mind it. I love Naruto, but that's all I keep getting now.
As a person who actually does networking stuff and understands kind of how networks work and everything, TikTok is evil. Like it knows everything about everything of your household. So it has like an IP scanner in the app, and so it knows how many devices are on your network and what kind of devices they are, the names of the devices, and the MAC addresses of the devices. All get sent back to TikTok. All of that gets sent back to TikTok.
Yeah,
they know everything about what's going on in your home network. They know everything.
I remember we went to a family dinner at my mother's house once, and there's like 8 of us in the room, and we were talking about a singer. I think she went on American's Got Talent, who passed away. She had cancer while she was like
I don't know, dude.
And we were all
let me be fair, man. I don't watch any of that stuff.
So we were all talking about her for like less than 10 minutes. I think the conversation went on for. an hour went by, 2 hours went by, my mum goes on to TikTok and instantly the first thing she sees is the video of the girl that we were just talking about 2-3 hours ago, her audition. Mum was like, whoa, this is kind of, and showed us. I'm like, see, they know, don't like hold anything accountable.
Yeah, no, dude, like the amount, okay, so like Google's bad. Google's bad, Apple's bad, but like TikTok is a devil, man. Like, be careful. TikTok is a little crazy. Like, how much data they harvest from you, especially with your account, is a little intense. Like,
See,
intense.
It just now makes a lot of sense how Billy keeps on finding things to do with toy collecting, because that's all he ever does on TikTok, because all he ever talks about and stuff like this. He's just gonna keep getting like because like they're just fueling his addiction.
That's what, dude. That's exactly what it does. It does that so it's staying on the app.
Yep.
Like, it's designed to keep you on the app.
Yep.
Same with like Tinder. Same with Facebook. Same with like the thing about Facebook. It's they figure out if you're mad, you stay on the app longer. So they just feed you stuff that's going to piss you off.
Oh yeah,
that's what they do all the time.
Facebook. I only now use Facebook to use my business page. That's literally it.
Yep. Now Facebook's the devil too, man. Like, big tech is not our friends.
No.
Like, I can want to say they're my friend, but they're not our friend.
Like, I don't really use Facebook much. I despise Twitter. Sorry, X.
No. Dead name it properly. Twitter.
Yes. Oh no, I don't even call it X to anyone. I still call it Twitter because I'm sorry, you still.
Oh yeah, no, dude.
So like, if they're gonna rename it X, at least change it. Like.
No, the funny part is, so for the longest time, I think it's still a thing. No. It's changed recently. So whenever you would send a link to Twitter, you would send a link. It went to twitter.com and then redirected you from Twitter to x.com. That's all I did. And it would still have the link for Twitter because they could not change the actual like algorithm, like the URL for the website properly for redirects. Because they fired like 90% of the staff who knew how to do that shit. So it was the funniest thing for them to figuring it out. And like, it was just a simple redirect that I have done. Like, so I have a website called it was a joke website I made like last year called nopersonalplugs.com. And it redirects to ZeotoHero. Because that's all it's designed to do. That's it. Because that's all they did. They just redirected on the name server from one place to the other place. So all the links would still go to Twitter, then be redirected properly to x.com.
Do you think, because obviously, America's kind of going through the whole of, TikTok will get banned and all this stuff. Do you think TikTok is going to get banned, or do you think like they'll make a way so it kind of like sticks around?
Well, so the whole reason why they want to get TikTok banned here, the whole reason behind the banning, right? Well, the legal reason they could use the banning is they want to have where American data is stored by American-owned companies, not Chinese-owned companies. Yeah. So ByteDance is the majority shareholder of TikTok in China. Same with over the United States. And so what the US is like, hey, if you want to continue operating here, you need to split your company up into a United States division so we can inspect it and make sure like data privacy is a thing. You guys aren't trying to cheat the system, all like, stuff like that. That's how we actually do business here in the United States. It's kind of weird. So China has a thing where if you do business in China, your company is owned by China. So here, all we ask for is if you're going to do business with the United States, have a division of your company in the United States so that one does all the work for you here, and we can keep an eye on it, kind of thing. We're like, hey, we have federal inspectors who come through, and and we have our own system of how things work. We pay your taxes through this company, and we just inspect you guys, make sure you're all up and up. Like, we have a whole consumer, what's it called? Consumer Protection Agency, the CPA. Which is all designed to keep an eye on companies so consumers are getting screwed over. And so that's like a whole thing. So it's like, say we have business people over in Europe, right? And so European, like Ukraine. So Ukraine wants to start like a business deal with someone in the United States. The one that demands is to make sure the company stays on the up and up is like, hey, move your headquarters or open a division of your company in the United States. Because when you do that, I can work with you just fine because then I have the security knowing that the United States, which is the head honcho of companies, is keeping an eye on my assets and making sure you're not going to screw me over and I can't screw you over.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that most people don't get that.
Yeah.
But China does something very similar. But China is, you go to China, you do business in China, your company is owned by China. Uh, same with so it's a really weird one. So Mexico, right? You know Mexico. So Mexico believes all of the world is Mexico. So there's no shipping cost to or from Mexico because it's all on Mexico.
Oh.
Yeah, Mexico's amazing. Like, okay, the stuff in Mexico, the people are amazing, the food's amazing, the rules are really weird and kind of confusing and really fun, but the cartels are not. But that's a whole different story for a different thing. But most of the people you meet, most people you will meet in your life are just good people, like plain and simple. Like they're just trying to get through the day. Same thing with people in Mexico, same thing with people in China, they're just trying to get through the day. But yeah, it's Mexico's weird. Like all of the world is Mexico.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And there's just weird rules and stuff like that. So a buddy of mine was doing like he had a company where he shipped everything in and out of Mexico because there was no shipping cost. There's no tariff fees. There's no tariff fees. So
Yeah,
that was ungo.
When Ben sent the comics to me, I had to pay a £15 fee, and then the amount of money he sent, like on my comics alone, Jesus, it was ridiculous.
Oh
Just
yeah,
to get the comic books to me. Like,
yeah. It's ridiculous, and yeah, the whole tariff things are a little weird right now. And the worst part is tariffs. Like we'll pay to ship them over there, then you have to pay to get them, which is even weirder. Like you've already been prepaid, like it's already been paid. Like why do you have to pay it again? But the tariff, so tariffs are like stuff coming into the country you have to pay for. So like who is it? Japan has a super high tariff on anything that's not Japanese. So anything coming in from anywhere else except for Japan, like selling in and out of Japan is fine. Selling in Japan, it's a super high markup because of the tariff. So they pay like 15% or something like that in tariff. It's ridiculous.
Jesus.
Yeah. Same with Australia. If you're getting anything from the United States to Australia, it's like a 50% tariff.
The funny thing is when I got my comic books, Mark got exactly the same. And I can just imagine Ben's face when he did like the first parcel and he paid for it and stuff. He started thinking, "Oh fuck, I got to do that all over again."
I think it comes up to like $90 something, something like that. It's ridiculous.
It did. Yeah, for both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, because Billy sent Mark. Billy tried to send Mark the Master Morpher, and that guy all twisted up. It was $120 to send that thing out to himself.
Fucking Nora.
Yeah. So for you guys, like the $100 is like 90 pounds. I think it is. Like, no,
yeah,
100. Right. I'm like 105.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's round about there. Yeah, that the whole like shipping thing is ridiculous because like I've said to Willie before that if there wasn't the whole drama to sending like parcels and stuff, I'd happily send Willie stuff, and even Willie said that he'd send me stuff and everything. But because it's like all this bollocks on top, it's just like, yeah, okay, never mind. I kind of like put it down on the whole idea.
So like. Yeah. So you guys could use couriers, which would actually work out pretty well. It would actually probably come out cheaper too, not gonna lie to you. You would pay them a small fee to take your stuff across on plane because they're already going that way anyway. So it might be easier. It could be cheaper. It'd be a fun thought experiment. And maybe experiment. You know what? We gotta find someone going to England. We gotta get Marcus Master Morpher. Billy!
Billy, you're needed.
Billy, I got an idea.
See, at some point, I'm going to need both of you on at the same time. It would be really hectic, and it'd be the weirdest episode of my podcast. But I've been on yours.
You've been on with us with the same time. It's just silly. We're just having a good time, kind of thing. Like the best way to describe ZeotoHero to people is like it's two guys is having a good time, and you're part of the joke. Like you're going to be in on the joke the whole time. You're going to have a fun time. And if you disagree with us, cool, have fun, man. Like we're not going to worry about it. We're going to mess with each other. Doesn't matter.
Well, my podcast is the one thing my fiance actually listens to, and every single week she'll go, "Oh, who's on next? Do you know them personally?" Blah blah. So when I said, "Oh, Jim's on," she's like, "Oh, cool." I didn't think I was like, honestly, I didn't think that Jim would come on, but he is. And she went, "Oh, what are you guys going to talk about?" My instant response is, "I don't know." No idea.
Like it's gonna be one of those episodes. What kind of episode? It's gonna ramble a little bit.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
you're gonna learn some things. You're gonna be you're gonna be afraid of things, and you know what? He's gonna sing you a lullaby to go to sleep. The lullaby of his people.
This is where we pull out the really tiny, really high pitched, out of tune violin. Like someone tried to you play it and they're like, was that a lullaby? Oh no, I was playing the Mighty Morphin theme tune. Was you?
It's like, is that a lullaby? I was trying to do chopsticks on a violin that's out of tune. Chopsticks.
Talking about
Chopsticks is you know what chopsticks is, right?
Yes.
It's a da, 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 da. Yeah, that's all that is.
Talking about Power Ranger theme tunes, I'm curious, what is your favorite Power Ranger theme tune? Because I don't think I've asked you this question.
Okay, so the one
you can have like a top if you need a top like number. You don't have to like pick one. You can have like a top 3.
So Turbo was like right up there, man. It was such a well done theme song.
Yeah, that was good.
The one I hate the most, though, the one I legitimately hate, is the RPM one. Like, it doesn't match the theme of the damn show, man. It doesn't, like, it's weird. Like,
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I just don't like it as much as I would like to like it. Because the show is so good. That season's amazing, but the intro is just out of place, and it's just, like, weird. And Mystic Force one's kind of weird, too. But, you know, whatever.
I actually purposefully... I don't think I can remember it now, but when Mystic Force first came out, I remember everyone bitching about it. I was like, I'm gonna learn it just to piss people off, and I did, and I pissed people off. So my goal, reached fruition.
Like it's not bad. Like it's not bad at all. It's just
odd that it's with the magical theme tune.
Yeah, it's a weird. Like, why is it rap with magic? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work for what they were trying to do with it. And I get what they were trying to get in like the younger crowd and like make it hip and fun. And it was like it's people in spandex fighting, man. It's got to be power ballads.
Yep.
That's the only thing that makes sense with this. Rap does not make any sense with this. Like power ballads and like rock and roll, man. Like those are the two things goes perfectly hand in hand with this.
See, my favorite shows are Time Force and Wild Force. I think like my favorites are those two. But Turbo's pretty good. I think Turbo
is a lot of fun because they just took the movie theme song. They just took it and ran with it. And like Rod Wasserman did it, and it is a masterpiece. Like it's pretty good, man. It's a lot of fun. And the thing with it in space, that's still pretty good too. But yeah, no, like Turbo was the one. Like that's the way. Like, all right, that was pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, cool.
Like I see people say like their favorites like Samurai and Megaforce, and I was like, you do realize it's been repeated for the last couple of years, right? Like, it's not original anymore.
I cannot stand Samurai. I can't do it, man. I can't. There's one thing in Samurai I like, and that's the only thing I like about it. And it's Antonio.
Antonio is awesome. Antonio is great, but yeah, I agree.
Antonio and Master G's like little love story. Oh, it's perfect. It's adorable.
Like Samurai is just there.
No, dude. Okay, so did you hear the episode of Billy and I? We went on the history of Power Rangers, Power Trip, history of Power Rangers.
Yeah,
so it's like it's like a 2.5 hour episode of me, Billy, and these other two guys talking about like Samurai, because Billy's like, I want to do Samurai. And so we did Samurai, and we went on this whole long tirade about Samurai. Like every episode, we talked about every episode and like the highlights and stuff like that. And oh my god, we had to rewatch all of Samurai in like less than 2 weeks, and it was so bad, so rough. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, like what's your favorite part about the whole series? I'm like, well, Antonio and Master G's like little love stories. Like Master G and Antonio aren't a couple, and I'm like, really? Like, did you not like watch that series? They're super good. Like they're getting together later. Like they hit it off real well.
Oh, see, with Samurai, it could have been really good. That's the shame part of it always. I was like, Samurai could have been so goated, and it's not.
I did not care at all for most of it. Though I did make the analogy that the Shiba family is Big Brother in the city, which kind of blew their mind. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So if you go back and listen, like, you should find it. You can link in the episode. I recommend it to people. I have a whole 30-second tirade about how much I hate freaking samurai, and like they bleep me out with the dragon dagger. It's the funniest shit. Like I
See,
am so like this beep the entire time.
I think Samurai and Super Mega Force are like the two seasons that I wish were really good, but ended up being absolutely diabolical.
Oh,
Hence why
yeah.
hence why I wrote the story Power Rangers Magnificent Megaforce, because I wanted to do something different with it. I was like, do you know what? We could easily turn the idea of Super Megaforce and still make it good, and that's exactly what I've done.
Oh man. Like I really, really wish Saban like I respect the guy. I respect the hell of the guy because he did some really amazing, nice things for some of the actors who worked for him.
Yep.
But like, you should have bought that Power Rangers. Like, you should let someone else pick it up. Like, anyone else could have picked it up and like done a better job with it. Like, he wanted the easy money he got last time, and it wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't going to happen. Uh, and because it Power Rangers, I love Power Rangers, I do, but it's no longer the worldwide phenomenon that it was in the 90s. So you're never going to have that strike the gold twice kind of thing. It's never going to happen. And I really wish Hasbro would have realized that it wasn't going to be a cash cow, but it was going to be like this series of really dedicated fans. Like
Yeah.
Star Wars is the cash cow because Star Wars, everyone knows Star Wars. It was a phenomenon that nerds took into to today.
Even
Still going.
even those who don't watch it knows who like Yoda
Mostly
is,
because
Chewbacca, that
they
sort of
kept
stuff.
they kept quality up. Like the movies are timeless. The first three movies are amazing. The second three
Agreed.
movies pretty good. The third three movies, they're pretty fun. But like the first three movies like hit so hard, and the quality of the show that was out, of the movies that came out, were so good that you could reference them into like in film schools. Well, Power Rangers, like, it was not good. The first series was super campy and like kind of meh, like storytelling wise. Then it started getting good to like season 2.5, 3, for story. But like, it was a phenomenon because everyone, like the theme song was was amazing. The show was meh. The colorful suits, the Zords, it was like the perfect combo that was gonna ride high for a little bit. And then once they changed the suits, no one could recognize them anymore. It all started going downhill because that's what happens. Like you change something and it all gets weird.
See,
Look at Star Wars.
I
It got
feel
a
like
little.
go on.
Yeah, you good.
I was just gonna say, I feel like the fact that, because you said, Hasbro should have just left it, and I agree because he tried to go back to the whole thing of, teenagers with attitude and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
this sort of stuff, and
Saban
it
didn't.
didn't work. Because
Yeah,
if you go from Mighty Morphin to, let's say, I don't know, Dino Thunder or Jungle Fury or something, that section, it always changes from Mighty Morphin to Wild Force. We went from teenagers of attitude, and then we had Lightspeed Rescue, who were all like,
mhm.
they had jobs, they were adults
Oh, in
technically.
their 30s, like doing their job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and stuff
like
like
it was
this.
really cool. And like even RPM, there was no high school stuff in RPM, no high
Yep.
school stuff. Like I think they kind of tried to with Dino Fury, right? They tried to stick to it, but like they didn't do the high school stuff until Mega Force, really. Like they
Mm.
didn't get back to the high school or Ninja still did Mega Force, right? Right? No, other way around.
Well, because
Until
even
those blocks.
yeah, because
And up till then,
it's when they went to
it
like the
was
whole
people with jobs.
yeah,
It was nice. And
because
then they went to
even
people in school and like, it's weird. It's
because
weird.
like if you take the Disney era, you have Ninja Storm, where yes, okay, they're like technically young, but they're ninjas. They go to a ninja
They're
academy.
not technically in school, but they're technically in
Yeah,
school.
and then you have like, okay, Dino Thunder did the whole school thing, but it
Yeah.
didn't rely on it or anything. They weren't like teenagers of attitude and stuff or
Yeah.
anything like that. And the whole point of them being in the school was one's a soccer player, one's a tech geek, and one's a singer, and they're not
Well,
friends. They have no relation. And the whole point was, by the end of it, they were a team. It
and
proved,
Tommy was a
yeah,
teacher.
yeah, yeah. By the end of it, it proved that anyone can become a team as long as you put the work in, that sort of like
Yeah.
message. And then when it went to the whole, when they did the whole one season and then season two's the air quote super season and all that jazz, okay, Samurai didn't do the whole school thing, but still.
Technically, they're early 20s, very early 20s, like 19 maybe, like
Yeah.
right out of high school. And so,
then,
like, even Mike was still like a high school student, like not a student, but he like still did high school stuff.
yeah.
Like his favorite thing was to go play games and have a milkshake. Come on, man.
And then obviously you went from Megaforce onward because Ninja Steel, they're in school. Dino Fury, they're not really in school.
No, they're not in school. They work at the archaeology museum, the museum of archaeology.
And then it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, Saban made weird decisions.
So
it's almost like he thought the kids from the 90s would be the exact same kids now.
Well, yeah, because it made him a lot of money. Like it made him a lot of money. Okay, I will say, so Dino Fury, right? Dino Fury had the Purple Ranger, right? And the Purple Ranger was an old guy first, and then became Kendra. And like the old guy, like he's like old, and like he can't die because the Dino Gym will not let you die until you give it up. And like I bet he's like, I'm back, and I'm not giving up yet. I'm not going down yet. Okay, so this stupid joke, like I've been thinking of for a while. Every time anyone brings that up, I gotta bring up the Purple Ranger. How was an old person, like kicking butt, taking names, was a super old dude.
Can we just note that Jim made a mistake there? He called Dino Charge Dino Fury.
So Dino Charge, yes.
Hey, whatever happened to Storytime with Cosplay Dude 637?
Dude, you don't know?
Clearly I don't know, or I wouldn't be asking.
It's moved to Tiger Tales on YouTube.
Tiger Tales? You mean that YouTube channel ran by Ty Tiger?
Yep, that's the one. Ty Tiger brought Storytime with Cosplay Dude 637 to his channel, and it's better than ever. There's even some new stories, too.
No way! I loved Storytime. I can't wait to check it out on Tiger Tales. Thanks for the heads up.
Catch all your favorite episodes of Storytime with Cosplay Dude 637 now on Tiger Tales on YouTube. Subscribe and don't miss out on any of the fun.
When Dino Fury had a Purple Ranger, I went, did it? Like in my head, I'm like, when did Dino Fury get a Purple Ranger?
Hold on, I'm doing the math. I think you might be wrong.
Because I was thinking
Dino Charge.
When they got to Dino Thunder, they had when they went to Cosmic Fury, they got an Orange Ranger, but there was no purple.
Yeah, yep. It's just that negative space color. But yeah, well, they technically had the Zenith Ranger, which was all colors, so technically purple. But yeah.
All right, Mr.
I will be Mr. Pedantic if I can be right. But no. Like Saban really didn't. His first attempt into it did really well. Second attempt technically because he tried to bring it beforehand, but didn't really work out. The second time was Power Rangers because they had a baller theme song that really sold everyone on it. But yeah, like they tried the replicate thunder. Like you're trying to capture lightning in a bottle twice. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And what they should have done, they should have just had older Rangers, like go along with the age group of people who are going to watch a show. And then make some kid-friendly things go with it, but for the most part, just keep it age appropriate for the people watching it. And that makes any sense? They should have taken they should have took the show and took it to AMC.
Yeah.
And not super dark, but just drama and older people with some kid things in it. Like freaking Walking Dead did super well with kids. Same with Walking Dead's super good with kids. Game of Thrones is super good with kids. There's so many shows that's more adult oriented that would have done super well with kids if they would have done that. Power Rangers would have done super well. Like if they make an older version of Bluey, would do super well. Bob the Builder, who's a crackhead, would do super well.
My God, that's fantastic. Bob the
Like
Builder.
I'm telling you, just think about it. Just think about it. Like just do like kids shows. Like if if they ever do bring back like Biker Mice on Mars, right? They should make it like older themed, and it would do super well. Just have the stuff for kids, like the bikes and the toys, still for the kids, and it'll do super well because you're not aiming for the kids. You're aiming for the people who have disposable income.
See, 2 notes on what you just said. First off, in Ninja Steel, the Red Ranger's a prisoner his entire life, and because it's a kid's show, he just brushes it off like it's nothing.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
there's
that would
PTSD
not
that goes along with that.
Yeah, like that would not just be blown over. There is no way you become a ranger and you're like, I've been a prisoner all my life. I'm gonna go save the world, and that's not happening.
I will redeem myself here. I will redeem. So Zato from Dino Charge. No, Zeta from Dino Fury, right? He has that moment where they tell him he's like 45 million years old and everything he's ever known is gone, and you just see him like you see him stand there just in pure shock for like 2 seconds,
distraught for a second,
and just you can tell he's like, all right, compartmentalizing this, let's move on.
But
and
again,
it comes back later because he can't sleep because of it. And I'm like, that's amazing. It does work. It can work. See, look at that.
But you could also use the argument of they made the right decision on 2 things. 1, he's a knight, and 2, he's also an alien who doesn't run the same as humans. So the fact that he can just go into being a ranger straight after knowing this information, he's not human, and he's also been trained in the words of like an alien knight and shit,
He still has PTSD for later. Like it still comes up. Oh, man,
And then the second point I wanted to make, because you said about like bringing shows back and everything, I've always wanted them to do an adult version of Ben 10, because in canon lore, Ben 10 meets an adult version of himself. And I'm sorry, but there's no way you turn into 1,000 aliens, save people and shit, and not get fucking PTSD because of it. Just saying.
Yeah. I would like to see Ben 10 who's a little messed up.
Yeah, exactly.
A little messed up. Like, not like, it doesn't have to be like full on like murder your parents trauma Batman, but like a little bit more adult oriented. Like not like drug abuse and shit like that, but like more like, dude, I gotta make my taxes this year. Like, what am I doing? How am I gonna get to work this week? Like shit like that. Like more like drama, but it still has that superhero identity that they have to take care of. Like that, like, oh hey, I'm gonna, or like the identity of something, like, so a Power Ranger who's older, who's like working a job and has to support his family, but still he's a Power Ranger and like has to go out and do stuff as a Power Ranger, and like every time he goes out there, it's like more and more of a concern of him coming back hurt because he's getting older, a little slower, like and he's trying to keep himself in good shape and everything, but he knows he's getting older. And did you see Last of Us?
Yes.
Okay, so Peter Pascal, right? The dad figure, Joel. That happened to him. Like, he was a little older. He knew he wasn't doing as well.
Yep.
He knew he couldn't do it. Like, you notice how he's like, okay, there's that one episode where he like sleeps, and she's like, "Why do you always sleep on your left side?" He's like, "Well, that's the one I can't hear out of."
Yeah.
Because he can't hear anything out of that. So he sleeps on that side because his ear he can't hear of will be facing up. That kind of stuff would be amazing of Power Rangers. Like, not like, into the world, but like little shit where like, say like so say like you've used the Megazord so much that like you got carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or like just like you got a bad knee and like you're trying not to like break your knee. And like every episode, like they don't talk about it, but it's gonna happen. And then once it happens, you're like, well shit, this episode's over. And it cuts to black. Like, oh shit, my knee, and it just cuts to black.
Well, Kevin Conroy, one of the biggest, the voice of Batman, he actually got to play live action Batman in the Arrowverse Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover.
And during that time, he had like stage 3 cancer or something like that. He looked like the part.
So that version of Batman they did, he wasn't Batman, he's just Bruce, but Bruce was Batman, but he actually had metal armor plates over his legs to keep it so he could walk properly, and that's actually derived off of one of the like biggest Batman storylines where like
Yeah, where
Batman's
he fights
60
Bane, yeah.
something, you know, he's like 60 something and he's wearing like an exoskeleton suit to keep
Yeah.
himself straight. And it's like Power Rangers could do stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, they could. They totally can. Like, look at the Return. The Return did pretty well.
Yes.
With older Rangers and stuff like that. They did pretty well. But like, it's a comic form, right? Not everyone keeps track of the comics. Not everyone even pays attention to comics. You make it to a TV show. You put it on AMC or HBO or something like that. Something kind of big. Like look at Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn did amazing. It's an adult animated series now, and it's fantastic. Something like that for Power Rangers. Like, it doesn't have to be Power Rangers, but it could be something like Power Rangers. It would do great. Just have a freaking baller theme song, some sparkly suits, you know, some freaking trauma. These people are doing it for years. Some have some trauma, have some pain, have some injuries. You know, their mentor is like no longer their mentor because he's like no longer useful for them or something like that. And he still tries to be cool with them, but they're like, you need to leave. Or like, you'd be like, hey, we know you did last time with that kid.
So
Something fucked up.
So you know how like in Jungle Fury, RJ has the whole like thing where like his wolf spirit's like taking over. He becomes like that werewolf thing.
Yeah. That did
that
super
adult
well.
themed. Imagine that adult theme where like the werewolf side kills someone or some shit, and now RJ has
Like,
to live with that.
not just kill, like horribly maim someone, not kill someone, because then you just have that person's death on your.
Yeah, that's all lies.
Maim someone, and you know you did it. And then, like, you have to suffer from the PTSD from that. Like, say you get over the curse and you get your powers and everything, but like later down the road, you're still paying their family for the medical bills. Like you're working 2 jobs and still being like, you know, you sold your company to like pay for these kids' medical bills that you know you've ruined their life for. And like you're sitting there and like you got no one to talk to about it. And everyone's like, what are you doing? And you're like, remember that kid I maimed? I'm still like paying his medical bills. And I was like, what? You're still doing that? Like, how are you surviving? Just like that, and be like, I could barely keep it together because I'm still torn up about this one event. You know, we fight these monsters all the time, but they're not people. This kid almost died because of me.
Yeah,
it would hit so hard.
See, and like you mentioned Harley Quinn, we also have shows like Invincible and stuff. I'm one of these people that so believe Power Rangers would do really well as an animation type thing. Look at What If and X-Men 97 and stuff. They do really good. I think Power Rangers would
X-Men 97, if they do a show, they do an animated Power Rangers, they need to storyboard the entire season first.
Yes.
Not go in like, so that's okay. So X-Men 97 was so good because they knew exactly what they wanted to do with the story before they drew one photo.
Yep, that's right.
Before anyway, and same thing with What If. What If is already pretty much pre-planned out. Same thing with Invincible. It's all pre-planned out before they even start drawing. If they do that, it's gonna be amazing. If they do that and they put shit together where it's more adult oriented, it can still be for kids. But if it's adult oriented, it's gonna hit super hard.
Well, it's just like I follow like, you know, a lot of, you know, Instagram pages and Facebook groups and stuff where they talk about Power Rangers, and a lot of people are like, oh, we want once and always special, but for like SPD and RPM and stuff. I'm like, if you made it animated, you could like do RPM, for example, and see how the world has gone to fuck because, you know, the bad guy's gone. Well, Echo's gone and stuff.
I don't want another RPM. I loved RPM. I love it to death. I don't want another RPM. I don't want anything else for that series. It's done with. Ziggy and Z got together. I'm happy. We got little bits in here and there. It's fantastic. But like, I don't want to see another. I want something original. I want something like older Rangers, like people who have Zeo powers, right? And like they never got rid of the Zeo powers. So it's like the same concept, except it's not Zeo powers, it's something else. And it's growing constantly. It's never going to end. And like they're suffering from like, you know, skin disease, cancer, like bone degradation. Like, you know, like one can't have kids because of radiation fucked up his dick. It's all messed up. Like just something real messed up. Like everyone has kids and everything. And they look over to this guy like, why don't you have any kids? Like, dude, I can't have kids. Why? It messed me up, man. I can't. It doesn't make anything. Like,
imagine him and his partner go to like, you know, a doctor to see what they could do to get pregnant. And the doctor's like, so you have some form of radiation poisoning to your testicles. You're not going to do sperm. Have you ever been around something of a mass amount of energy? This guy's like, I can't tell him I'm a Power Ranger. I can't tell him I'm a Power Ranger. I can't do it.
You're like, yeah, you can't say you're a Power Ranger, but you're like, they're like, come on, man. You're like, can't say nothing. But it's like the radiation like is messing with these people. Like they can only do it for so long. Like, so say like they can only do it for like 5 years, and then someone's doing it for like 8 years, and like they're just messed up. And like all these people, like the closer you get to 5 years, the more messed up you are. And like this guy is like been at 8-9 years, he is just messed up for all good reasons, and like should not still be alive.
See,
Like, what happened
okay.
to this guy? He's been a Power Ranger for 9 years. What the shit? 9 years.
See, my story brain does this thing where someone says something like you just said something, and my head has gone 100 miles an hour. Now I'm like, just thought of something. Like you could so do a thing where like a newbie's come into the team, like one ranger's died and like the powers are transferred, and there's like a new kid on the block, not a kid, but you know what I meant, like a new person, and he's like, oh, whatever happened to this person, this person, this person? None of the team talk about it, so he investigates, and like there could be such a dark scene where like he finds out one of the rangers like offed himself because he couldn't handle it, and like another one's like in a mental institution because like they're now thinking they can talk to their Zord or some shit, or something on those lines, and it's just like there's so many like interesting ways
Like-
you could so work with that.
Yeah, like one of them stabbed his roommate. What, with a sword? A roommate with a sword? Okay. Yeah, like there's a whole bunch of stuff you could do with that. Yeah, like it's completely plausible. Like completely. Completely plausible.
For fuck's sake. Oh my god, I can't believe you said that.
Oh yeah. The other one could steal like a poster from a Comic-Con. Yeah, got it. You good. All the sign for some cancer kid. He just took it. Oh man. Yeah, no, like dude, like there's so much stuff you could do with it, like adult oriented stories that I really wish they would do. Like look at Bluey. Bluey is a kid show, right? But there's a lot of adult situations in it that are like there's a lot of stuff going on in the background for adults. Like, I really wish they did more of that for Power Rangers. Like, if they made an animated series, they could easily do it. Like, easily put stuff in the background, side characters and stuff like that, where they don't have to worry about framing and stuff like that. They just here and there throw in these like extra bits of the. Freaking look at Owl House. Owl House had so many adult themes in it, but it was based for a kids show.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal, but it's it's a kids show, but there's so much adult stuff in it. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite series of all time.
Honestly, like I've actually got a YouTube video I need to edit where I'll actually talk about turning Power Rangers into like animation, do it that way, because there's so much more they could do, without this massive budget and stuff. Because like if they wanted to continue what they've done, like work on already built things, if they want to make mature stuff, like let's take SPD for example. We know Bridge becomes a Red Ranger, and he knows that like he's now got like he'd have a team. You could do it where Bridge fucks up. He was the comic relief character. He was the funny one. So
we have to grow up really quick. Yeah,
like seeing him be like more mature, and like maybe he loses one of his team members in a bad way, or maybe someone gets hospitalized or something, and like he's fucked up as a leader. You could do stuff.
You get that mess up, right? You get that early mess up, right? And then like down the road, like he's starting to become more and more serious, and then like he gets to like 10 episodes down the road, right, was more serious. Is like things have changed with him. Like he used to be goofy, now he's a serious like leader character, and like he sees his old friends. His old friends are like, what happened to you, man? And he'd be like, dude, life happens. Cherish the people you care about, and just turns around and walks away because he can no longer comprehend caring about them, because he's no longer the Bridge he was. He's now this new Bridge. He can no longer be interacting with his old friends. It just doesn't make any sense for him to do it.
Like honestly, there's quite a few things they could do, but I mean, right now Power Rangers is kind of on a standstill.
Yeah, Power Rangers on a hiatus, indefinite hiatus right now. Hasbro's really good about bringing stuff back from the dead, especially the animated series. But I don't know, like they don't care about Power Rangers, so
I had this conversation with the collector, and he made a very good point, because everyone keeps on saying Power Rangers is dead. I'm like, well, no, it's not, because there's comic books still going on and stuff like that. We still have, there's a new, like, retro kind of game coming out at some point. There is.
They shit that out. No offense, like that.
They fucked that bad. Yeah, that doesn't look good. But still, my point being is, like, he made the point of, G.I. Joe died off for like years on end, and then suddenly they started like doing action figures again. And now, okay, it ain't gonna be great because welcome to Hasbro making movies, but now we're gonna get Transformers and G.I. Joe in one film. And it's like G.I. Joe went missing for years, like yonks, and then all of a sudden it just sparked up in toy figures again. And so, like, Collector made a good point. Power Rangers could be the same. We may not have Power Rangers for a couple of years, but then all of a sudden they may have an idea, or someone may go, "Hey, let's bank on this for a second," and we may get something. So I don't think Power Rangers is dead, but it's
like
definitely on
someone else
pause
could
for a while.
be like someone else could be hired in who's like has the same kind of passion for Power Rangers that the original guy did before he died, and like he just takes it and runs with it and like makes it more like, you know, makes it more of a vision he has for it kind of thing, or like pushes writers to actually do good work for the series. Like Cosmic Fury is fantastic. It was 10 episodes. It was a lot of fun. Like more stuff like that. And like have longer runnings of that and like play the long game for a little bit. Like do 2 or 3 seasons of doing mediocre with mediocre toy sales so it really catches on. Because that's where you're gonna really sell it, is when it catches back on with adults and kids. And you're gonna sell like hotcakes. But no one's willing to take that risk because it's gonna hurt the bottom line at first.
Yep.
Yeah. We live in a society where short-term gains are better than long-term gains.
I'm curious, what's your thoughts on the 2017 movie?
2017? I liked it. It was fun. Like, not everything was perfect, but it's fun. I liked it. The guy who played Billy, C.J. Riley, fantastic.
Yeah.
The guy who played Jason, Billy Montgomery, fantastic. He was great. The whole cast is I didn't like Becky G. Becky G I was so bored with. Everyone else is Bill Hader as Alpha, freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
Like
See,
it was fine. Like, you know, I'm kind of mad, a little mad, but like we didn't get anything else after it. But the suits looked good in motion. The story was, you know, reasonable. You know, Billy was fun. Everyone was pretty much fun. It was not a bad movie.
so Willie, if you listen to this, cover your ears or skip for a couple minutes because he hates this film. But anyway, there's 3 things I would change. The first one is like, don't make it so the Zords meld together via falling into a pit of lava. Just do something different. Second of all, make it, well, I wouldn't say make it darker, but like they very slightly leaned on, you know, Billy's a bit funny,
Autistic.
you know, yeah,
Billy's autistic. Zach's mom is dying.
yeah, lean on that more. And thirdly, don't play it off like you're trying to redo Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because it's clearly not Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because that's why everyone hates it, because it's not Mighty Morphin. I was like, well, if they made it so, if they went off on one and they advertised it as, hey, we're doing a Power Rangers movie, not a Mighty Morphin one, because that's how they advertised it. If they just went, oh, we're doing something with Power Rangers, I think so many more people would be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is a cool take.
Like if they had if they would have hit, like, they would have advertised more as just a Power Rangers movie, that would have been a lot better than a Mighty Morphin movie. I will say though, the idea for the suits worked out really, really well for it. Like in action, in motion, those suits look freaking slick.
Yep.
In the photos, they look terrible. The photos, but in motion, they're beautiful. But there's stuff that's wrong with the movie. There's stuff that's right with the movie, and I really, really wish they had more confidence in the movie. Like they like more confidence in the IP. So they made a Breakfast Club movie with Power Rangers, and they really stuck with the Breakfast Club section of it, which I really liked. But they were afraid of the Power Rangers stuff.
Yes, yeah.
And so they didn't know how to write for that correctly, and that's fine. I get it. I really, really wish they got a sequel and maybe a trequel, like all 3 movies, like a full arc to really flesh out the characters. But we didn't get that, and there's a lot of room to grow. There's so much stuff to do still. But you know what? We don't get it for right now. It's fine. I can live without it. Like I would like to see it actually end, but
see, because
everyone's too big to come back for it.
There is things in that film that I did enjoy. I love the fact that, you know, Zordon was like the leader of the Ranger team first. I think that's like a really cool, that like kind of makes it different. I actually really enjoyed this version of Rita, the fact that she was a Ranger too, and that she still has highlights of a Ranger suit on when she's evil and things. It just ties it in proper.
That lady who played her was just chewing the scenery so good. And the whole Krispy Kreme thing, we must find the Krispy Kreme.
See, but this is the thing though, if they made it so this wasn't a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger reboot, air quote, the fact that we had a villain happened, who was dark, gritty. She killed one of the Rangers. She was like a proper
She killed
badass.
a lot of people.
Yeah, but the scene where she walks into is it like a jewelry store or something? She goes
Yeah, it was
into?
just watching
Yeah.
them in
She
gold
goes,
and like kills
she's
them.
creepy motherfucker. Absolutely like
Yeah.
a freaky little fuck. That's cool. So when she
Little
made the line
goblin.
of "Let's go to the Krispy Kreme," everyone would
It
just
just
laugh
hits
because
even funnier.
it would just hey, this freaky fucker wants to find a Krispy Kreme. That's
Yeah.
funny. But because it's Rita Repulsa and it's not the woman who lives on the moon trying to kill the Power Rangers, everyone's like, oh yeah, that shit. That's no, just no. You know.
So like, okay, so I had the same like opinion of the new Velma series, right? So Velma itself, like the show, if it was not Scooby-Doo related, it would have done a lot better. Like it's fine. Like it's a really crass like adult humor
Yeah.
show. It's fine if you don't if it wasn't about Scooby-Doo. Like if it was different names, different people, not Velma, Daphne, Fred, and Shaggy, it would have worked out way better. But they had to make a Scooby-Doo show, and I'm pretty sure like the lady who did the show was like, I hate all of you. Let's make it as bad as possible. Because like they went all in on some of the stupid jokes. They went all in. Like the lady wrote for The Office for years. Like she was a writer for The Office, and like some of the episodes she wrote for were some of the best episodes ever made. So like I know it's not 100% her fault. Like they did most of like on purpose. They really made it really cringy for Scooby-Doo characters, and I think they did that entirely on purpose. But like because it was a Scooby-Doo show, people hated it because it's a Scooby-Doo show. Like it's trying to recapture, like it's designed to recapture Scooby-Doo because that was designed to be what it was supposed to do. And like I honestly think any other way they would have made it with anyone else, any other names, it would have been funnier, like way funnier. But because of Scooby-Doo, it's bad. And then the creator was like, let's just roll with it.
Yeah.
Let's go all in. Let's make this as terrible as possible. And let's just go all in. Because yeah, this is the kind of like she was in the era of comics where like the cringe is funnier when people hate it kind of thing. Like she'll do it to piss people off because she knows it would work, the groups of people she wants it to work for kind of thing. It's hard to explain that era comedy for a lot of people, but it's like the era comedy. Like, Jim and Dwight, that's the era comedy she came from. Do you know who that is? The Office people, the people in the Office, Jim and Dwight. That kind of comedy was what she learned her comedy trade in. So it works out really like. I rambled onto this one. I lost it.
Well,
the comedy is different. Like the comedy for what it was supposed to be could have been amazing, but because it was a Velma, like it was a Scooby-Doo show, it hit really bad. It was awkward as all get out.
Well, it's just like the fact that I've seen so many people say this. The Boys TV show is better than the Boys comic because the comic is like it's dark and gritty just like the show, but the show does so much better with the characters and like the storylines and stuff.
So
and it's just like it's adapted better. So
I've read the comics and I watched the show, and the show gives you some hope. The comics don't. The comics hit you hard. They keeps going. It's like the original Walking Dead. Like it does no hope at all. It's all bad. there's no reprieve.
The only gripe I have with The Walking Dead is, and I understand they said it from like I think it was like season 2 or season 3. They said it from like almost the get go. They're going to take a different direction. I mean, how one of the main characters.
No.
In the comic books,
like the Walking Dead comic was like done in like 8 issues.
But like the only gripe I had was the fact that in the comic book, the whole thing is a story being told to kids by Carl.
Yeah.
And then in the show, he dies. And it's just like, that's the only gripe I have. So I'm not saying keep him around. I'm not saying follow the comic books. But they killed him off, and they did it really dumb as well. The way he died pissed me off. It made me stop watching it for a few years.
My character who died, who I had to stop watching, was Herschel. The old man. Don't.
That made me cry.
Yeah. I was like, Herschel's dead. I'm done. I can't stop. I stopped. I couldn't do it.
Herschel was the type of character you wanted to hug you and like in your worst times,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, another show that's oh man, I can't remember it now. Well, never mind. Continue on.
Hey, we made Jim like not use his brain.
Oh, I've had a long day. There's another show I was thinking of that did similar things where it didn't follow the comics as well. But Invincible's changing direction on the comics as well.
Yeah,
So it's similar beats but different story. Like it's going to go differently. Same thing with like it's just some things have to be adapted for TV. Like The Expanse had to be adapted for TV. Like the books were way different, well, not way different, but it's different enough from the show because the show had to be adapted to TV and not for book format. And that happens a lot. Like look at Sandman. Sandman was a little different than the actual comic to the TV show. Same with American Gods. American
yep.
Gods, the show was pretty close to the book, but there's some things that got changed because they couldn't put that in TV format.
See, like I see this like as an argument quite often, and my response is always, as long as they do well with the material, it's fine.
Oh
And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so for example, I use this all the time. In Doctor Strange, in the first film, we have the ancient one, the bold lady who like teaches man to
Yeah.
use magic and stuff. In the comic books, that's an old man with a beard as long as his body. Changing it into a woman who's like a badass motherfucker, all good. That's fine. That adaptation works. That is such a cool decision. Spider-Man had webs coming out of his hand. Weird decision, sure, but it worked. They even referenced it and made a whole joke about it in No Way Home. It was a whole thing.
That was
and
pretty funny, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Like,
a good gag too.
It's like you could, what's that? A web shooter? You don't have any? No, I just make my own. What?
The best
Just-
part of it is he actually does it. He goes, well, bang, and shoots it, and all of them are like, what the?
They're all so confused. Like, what in the
Yeah,
world
yeah.
is this? Makes no damn sense.
But like, I'm one of these people that do look at the way that things are adapted because comic book nerd and all, and like I like to compare things, and as long as it's done well and it makes sense, I'm all for certain things changing and being different. Like, okay, Avengers, that's a easy one of the best ones. If you look at the original 6 Avengers in the movie, and then you look at the very first Avengers comic book, the roster's not even the same.
Yeah, no.
But
There's
it works though.
I think it's like, well, it works for today's time. Like it worked for back then, and it works for this time. And if you actually read the original Avengers comic, it's kind of rough.
Yeah, that's
like
yeah.
it's just old comics are rough. Like Golden Age and Silver Age comics are. It's more about the spectacle than the story. And now there's more focus on the story, which is nice now. I like comics nowadays. The old comics are a little they look pretty. But look at Batman. Look at old Batman. Old Batman was never dark and gritty. It was really fun and campy.
Yeah.
Well, the very first run of Batman, in the newspaper when it was.
It's why Adams West Batman's TV show was like the way it was.
Well, no, there's one before it. There's one Batman before that Batman that came out. It was the very, very first run of Batman. It was super dark, like the Joker kill people kind of thing. Like It was really dark, and then it went campy because it was too dark at the time. Like they went. It was right when the things got some stuff got changed and it got super campy, and that's what hit really well. Was at that point in time was super camp. And that ran for a very long time. And most other comics were like that too. They're all campy and like kind of meh and boring and pre Silver Age. So I think it's like Silver Age and then pre that's Golden Age. And Golden Age was when stuff got weird real fast. Yeah. And then it got super campy in Silver Age, and then 90s came around with edgy shit with Deadpool. Deadpool started all the edgy shit.
Well, if you look at Batman and Superman both came out in the 1930s. So if you look at what was happening in the 1930s, having the campy superhero that, Superman could fly and, he could pick up a car and stuff like this, it just brought light to people. That's why camp worked back then, because
Superman was created by 2 Jewish writers to fight Hitler because Superman cannot be defeated. And it was they were afraid of what was happening at the time with the Nazis. And because at that point in time, not gonna lie to you, so at that point in time, there was a pretty large chunk of America who were on board with the Nazis. At that point in time, they were like, oh, Nazis are fine, they buy stuff, it's fine, we don't care. And they were getting kind of worried, and so they made Superman. And Superman became the hero for them. Like the hero they need at the time. And it's a really weird, that point in American history was really, really weird. We just don't talk about it. The funny part is actually at that point in time, more people spoke German than English in the United States.
That's odd.
Yeah, we had a huge German influence in the United States for a very long time. So literally, the primary language in the United States was German at one point in time,
That's
and then the Nazis happened, and then it changed real fast. We spoke American English.
Well, so like, okay, so the one adaptation thing that I never ever liked, and so many people argue with me about this, is I do not like Man of Steel because Superman kills Zod, and that is one adaptation I will never get behind.
Yeah, I understand that.
Because the whole point of Superman is he's meant to be a symbol of hope, and no matter what adaptation you do, he's meant to be the symbol of hope.
Now, if his name was a Superman, would you enjoy the movie a lot more?
If it wasn't Superman, then
if his name was not Superman, if it was whatever other name, not a like unknown hero name, but like some other freaky name like S-Man or something like that, I don't know, Carman, anything else, like same situation, same kind of character, like godlike character, trying to save the world, very last moment, can't really kill, like do anything to this guy, kills him. But that's the only thing he can think of doing to stop him because nothing else has worked. Would have hit better like that? Would have been like, oh, that makes sense. It's not Superman. Like this character, like everything to the very end, like you had to do this because nothing else was working. Would that work for you?
Most probably, but I
think... It was not named Superman. Anyone else, doesn't matter. Not named Superman. Not Clark Kent. Could be some idiot character someone made up last second. But that's the one thing you can do will work against this one person trying to kill everything you know and love.
Yeah, I think it would work. Yeah. But like, here's the thing though. You watch the scene where he kills Zod, and I've literally seen so many videos of people analyzing that one scene. There's so many other things he could have done.
Yeah.
Snapping his neck, not the last.
I'm not going to get a huge argument about this. I'm going to say my last little bit about it for this. All right. It's his first big fight with someone who could actually do anything to him. He was afraid. I will also say this last little bit, Batman kills people in this universe as well. So the Snyder universe, there's some dark and gritty in there. No one's a Boy Scout. Nobody is. They're all a little messed up. I will say that part.
It actually hurts me that we have the Zack Snyder Justice League, and it was really good. It's actually one of my favorite DC films.
The full cut of it, freaking great. But it's not true to any of the characters.
But see, again, I understand why we didn't get this Snyder cut. He lost his daughter halfway through filming. Because if you watch the original, the very first ever trailer,
the one with Whedon,
and then you watch the Joss Whedon film, they don't even look the same. They don't even look like. You can tell that things were redone. But I also learned that Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder argued about it whilst Zack Snyder was mourning his daughter's death and everything. I was like, holy shit. Like what?
Yeah, no, dude had a vision. Like, dude had a vision for the series. He wanted this vision, and not gonna lie to you, if he would so his original cut for Man of Steel was even better too. So there's a lot of meddling with the studio. They kept coming in and changing things. There was never supposed to be a shirtless scene with Clark Kent. Never. They were forced to put that in. So. There was Wonder Woman, right? So Wonder Woman was the one they just gave up on because they didn't care. Like, as a woman director, they just needed a Wonder Woman movie. They didn't care. They let her do her thing. That movie was fantastic. Yes. You have Man of Steel. Studio was like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, and he's like, dude, guys, come on, I know what I'm doing. Just let me do my thing. It's gonna be pretty good. And they kept going at it, and he's like, okay, fine. So that's why it's like how it is. And then you have BVS, Batman v Superman. And that one's it's okay, but same thing happened. Then last second, Wonder Woman shows up, so then they got to make a Wonder Woman movie. The BVS didn't do super well, but they're greenlit for the Wonder Woman movie, so they have to make it. And they're like, screw it, whatever, do whatever you want. And that one just takes off like wildfire, so they got to read the whole thing. They got to make the next one. And so they got to do Justice League because Wonder Woman did so well, they had to make Justice League.
Yep.
They were going to put it off a little bit and see people forget about it and not worry about it. But because of how well it did, Ben Affleck was like, it was really good.
See,
So then the Snyder
Batman
Cut would have been beautiful, but
Batman
yeah,
versus Superman is one of those things where I'm not okay with the adaptation because Superman dies via kryptonite, and it's just like you do realize Doomsday's in the film, right? You do realize
yeah,
what Doomsday is, right? People need to know what Doomsday is because it hurts
they
me. Because
couldn't. Well, they could not have unkillable beasts that no one could kill be around without their god character. Like you can kill both or the bad guy. You can't kill just the good guy. Like
yeah, but there's
film is
ways.
different than comic. Comics are reasonable. Like you people are gonna survive in comics. It doesn't matter. You know they're not gonna die. Movies, a whole different animal. Like people are gonna go watch it who don't understand comics are gonna go watch it and they're gonna be mad if the bad guy wins that kind of story. Look at Infinity War where Thanos won. People were pissed because they don't realize it was Thanos' movie.
Yeah, that's Avengers
That movie
Infinity
was
War.
Thanos' movie.
Dot,
That
dot,
was
dot.
not Avengers. That was a
Thanos'
Thanos
movie.
movie.
Yeah, that was a Thanos.
But
But it was
people
a
were
good one though.
mad. Holy shit! People were so pissed.
But there
And then
are
we got
ways that they could have done it so Doomsday killed Superman, but Doomsday still dies.
yeah. That
They just need to
there's
use their
certain ways
heads.
that, but then you write yourself in a corner going, oh, this killed Doomsday. Then at that point could it kill other things? Like if it's like a stone or something that killed them. Like is there other things like that, or like can humans go around the universe killing things like that now? Like it's hard to make something unkillable killable.
Yeah, that's true.
Like your god character could not kill it, so you're gonna send in like some guy with a rock to kill it. And like Superman was like it's established character where the his enemy like his weakness is kryptonite. It's established. Most people know that. You can get away with it. Like look at the Flash, right? In the Flash movie, you don't actually get any legitimate thing that could hurt the Flash.
True.
Right? There's nothing really legitimate you see that can hurt the Flash. Same with the Green Lantern. Green Lantern, nothing really can hurt the Green Lanterns because they can't be like, oh, hey, this is their weakness because no one would get it. Same with Batman. Batman has no weaknesses because it's Batman. You can't have weakness for Batman without like confusing the shit out of people. Same thing with look at Iron Man, look at Captain America. There's no real weaknesses for them. They just overcome hardship. And we all know the greatest enemy of Iron Man is alcohol.
Yeah, that's very true. Yep. Which they did very well. They didn't use the alcohol part. They took the he's dying section of that story and put it in Iron Man 2.
Yeah, and so like you had to overcome dying with help from someone else. Like there's no real weakness. There's none. Like the Mandarin was completely fake until you get to the real Mandarin, who he still beats. There's no real stakes in the game. Like that's the only reason why Superman's kryptonite works is because it's a known thing. It's a known issue. It's a known weakness within the zeitgeist of humanity. You can go to anyone in the world and ask them what Superman's weakness is, and 90% of people will say kryptonite.
Well, I never thought my thought pattern on Batman versus Superman would ever change. Well done, Jim.
Like I've talked to people about this movie a lot, and like most people are like, "I hate it." Like, do you really hate it, or do you just hate that you hate it? Like, do you hate it enough to where you think you might like it? It's one of those movies like you're like, oh, I think about it. Okay, that makes more sense. Like same thing with a BVS, like or Justice League, even Justice League, like the Joss Whedon one, still get its own merits. Like it's still fine, but the Snyder Cut's way better.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on James Gunn now, like, doing DC and all that stuff?
I am 100% on board with this. Like I don't care. I'm just here for it. I like the dude's a fantastic director.
Yes.
A great like he puts his stuff together exactly how it should be put together. He did Suicide Squad. He did Guardians. He did Peacemaker. The show for Peacemaker was beautifully done. He's done so many things. Like there's an old movie called Slither. He did, and with Nathan Fillion's in it, and it's a body horror like movie. And I don't like body horror all that much, but it's so damn funny that you gotta watch it. Like it's really good, and everything he's basically worked on turns out very well. He's like he's like a Quentin Tarantino of really nerdy things.
See, I see a lot of people bitching the fact that like he's put Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, and all these other characters in the Superman movie, and my response to them is look at the 3 superhero films he's done: Guardians 3 because he didn't do them 2, and then look at the Suicide Squad because he did the Suicide Squad, which is a lot better than Suicide Squad.
He does really well on ensemble cast. He does fantastic.
All I'm saying is this: Guardians of the Galaxy 1, not many people actually knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy was before the film. They were popular, but the film put them on the map. And he gave you a bunch of characters you don't know, made you feel for them. One of them dies and also comes back, which everyone's like, yes, this weird talking tree.
Within an hour and a half.
Yeah, and also you have like a dope ass like ending where everyone has to join hands and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All in an hour and a half. The Suicide Squad, so much better than the first fucking Suicide Squad, might I add. No one knows who these characters are. I've spoken to so many fans of like DC and stuff. They had no idea who half these characters are. Starro, the big star thing. That's like one of the biggest fucking original Justice League comic book villains.
It was the original Justice League.
Yeah.
That was the original Justice League enemy, yeah.
Yeah, like no one knows who that is.
Yep. Dude, oh my god, I never thought it was Starro ever.
Yeah, me neither.
He's super good at all that. He's super good at all that stuff, and like, I just want to be like, I want to know what his playlist is. I just want to know what his playlist is going to be. Like, it's going to be amazing. And like, he does all his. So he gets the script for the movie, right? He kind of gets figured out where he wants the movie at, and then he has a playlist of stuff he already has set for the movie. Yep. It's like, hey, this is my playlist. I'm gonna pay for the movie. You will pay for every one of these stars, like every one of them. I don't care. So from there, then he gives it to the writers, like, hey, match up the stuff with the music. I want to make sure this music is all good. Like, we know where it's gonna be at. And he goes back before the very first scene is shot. There's already music ready to go for every scene needs to have music. It's already ready.
Well, it's everything. He's really good at, without giving too much backstory, he's good at kind of making you want to see more of these characters, because it wasn't until Guardians 3 we had a backstory for Rocket Raccoon. We've seen him in 2 Guardians and 2 Avengers films before we even got his backstory, but we still love seeing him on screen and stuff because of what he did. And it's just like
he's really making lovable characters.
Yes,
and
like,
he's really they're a-holes. Like, Rocket Raccoon's an asshole, but people love him. Same thing with Yondu. Yondu was an ass, but you loved him because he was Peter's like father figure. He within an hour and a half of the first movie, you went from like hating the guy to loving the guy, just with an hour and a half, because Peter and him had such a good rapport. And like, same with Gamora, you don't like her, but you end up liking her. Like Nebula, same with Nebula. Like all the characters you meet and you end up liking is because of James Gunn and like how he handles like the directing of the characters. And he already knows the music. He knows where the story's going to be. Like, the best way to explain James Gunn's directing style is like animated series, like X-Men 97. I'm bringing it back to this, where everything's kind of already planned out. There's no other rewrites or anything else. It's going to be exactly what he says is going to be. End of the day, it's going to be the movie he wants to make. And that's why all his stuff is pretty damn good, because he knows before he even shoots the first scene what the music's going to be and how the story's going to be told. He knows exactly where it's going to be end of the day. And it always comes out pretty good.
Well, it's like, I see people bitch about that he's using Guy Gardner's Green Lantern instead of like...
I don't care.
And John Stewart. And my response to that is, Guy Gardner's a dick. He's like one of the biggest knob jockeys in comic books. He's also a lovable goof, but also he's not very well known. And James Gunn is really good at putting less known characters.
You know when people were mad during Justice League, the animated series, when it was Jon Stewart and not Hal Jordan? People were mad, very mad about it. It was awkward.
Hal Jordan's also been done to death, so it's nice to see.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. The funny part is, I think it's who's playing Green Lantern? Who's playing it? I want to say it's Mel from Firefly. Hold on. James Gunn, Green Lantern actor.
Oh, it's Nathan Fillion, isn't it?
Yep, Nathan Fillion. Yeah. Let's see, is it going to be Nathan Fillion? It was Nathan Fillion, who plays Hal Jordan in like every animated series.
Yes, yeah, he's a huge
That's the funny part.
He's actually there's been like interviews of him, and he always gets asked like, oh, if you could play a character in live action, like superhero wise, he will say he doesn't name the human, but he'll just say Green Lantern. Like he's a huge Green Lantern fan.
Yep, I'm here for it. Like I'm 100% on board with this because it's James Gunn, and they'll and Nathan Fillion's going to be in it. He's great. The guy who's doing Superman looks pretty good. Like I'm like, all right, we're doing this. Let's just go roll with it. I don't care. I'm rolling with it.
I was about to ask you what you thought of the suit.
I like it. I don't mind it. Like I like the fact it's a little loose on him. Yeah, I like it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
I like old. Go on.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I liked Henry Cavill in that suit. Oh, I liked it a lot. But I'll take this where he looks more human.
Well, if you look at some of the older comic book versions of Superman, he wasn't abbed to hell. He actually had like some like curve to him in some sense, but also his suit's meant to look homemade. That's the whole point of the Superman suit, because the original Superman, okay, like I said, adaptations can change and stuff. It was made by his mum. His adoptive mum might have, the human person. It was made for him. It's not he's bulletproof and stuff, but his suit ain't. His suit's meant to look homemade. I like the look of it. I think it looks great.
Let me ask you this then. Okay, so James Gunn's doing this new movie, right? Have you seen My Adventures of Superman yet? My Adventures of Superman. Have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't.
I'm going to recommend it to you. You're going to love it.
Okay.
Like, it's hard to explain it without spoiling anything, but like it's a good Superman story where Superman's not like God. He's not. He's still like 20 years old, doesn't really understand his powers fully, but he's trying to be a good person.
See, that's why I like Smallville so much.
Yeah. It reminds me of Smallville. It does remind me of Smallville, but I'm gonna recommend it. Watch it. Just give it a watch. I think you're really gonna enjoy it.
Okay, yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Just let me know when you start watching, because I do want to talk to you about it. We've been watching it, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, this is the issue with me, right? Like, I still need to watch the live action version of Avatar: The Last Airbender, because I have ADHD and my brain doesn't like me sitting down and watching stuff. Like, if a TV show comes out one episode a week, I can watch it because it's one episode. Once it's done, and then I have the excitement to carry on until the next episode. But if I have a whole series just dumped on top of me, I find it extremely hard to get through it all really quick, because I'm just like, okay, this is it's just
Nope,
like
I'm the same boat,
I
man.
find it a chore. So like, okay, granted, I'm currently getting through Lost, because I started watching Lost, I stopped, and now I'm like trying to finish it. That all exists, but it's been around for a long time, and I'm watching it in the background, and I can do my own thing and all that jazz. But when new things get dropped, I find it really hard to watch it. If
like
it's all in one go.
All series, like all season of a whole thing drops at one time, it's really hard for me to watch it too. Yeah. Like once a week I can watch it, because like it only takes 30 minutes of a day or something like that, or an hour. I could watch it. It's fine. I can do other stuff while I'm doing it. I don't have to pay that much attention to it. But I could watch it. It's fine. Though I will say the new series Acolyte, I could not do other stuff while watching it. There's so much stuff going on in that series. I could not do it. I had to sit there and watch it. I can't do other stuff. But yeah, no, like I do the same thing where if I had to watch a whole series, it was hard for me to watch a whole series at one time. It's so tricky.
It also depends what type of show it is. Like Lost, I'll admit, I've started rewatching it like a month ago, and it's still. I went from I think it was like halfway through season 3. And it's only like 6 or 7 seasons. I'm not on the last season, so it took me like a month to get there. But because there's episodes that drag, and there are episodes that are boring. But like you take Last of Us, I was way behind on watching the Last of Us show. To be fair, I didn't even want to watch it because I played both games, love them both. And the really funny thing is, I got my friend James into the game. He convinced me to watch the show. Funny enough, and I watched it, and me and James binge watched it back at the beginning of January, and I think we binged it in like 2 days or something like that, because it was good. There's only like 9 episodes. It's all story driven, and they also change things from the game, but really good. Like the character, the gay guys in one of the episodes.
Oh yeah.
He's
Bill and
Bill. He is such a
Frank.
Such a small character in the game.
But they wrote a whole episode for him.
He's literally in the game for like 10 minutes, if that. He's an ass to like both of them, and literally all he's used for is to get a car. That is it. And the whole
So-
episode of Bill and Frank, oh my god, I was almost in tears. Like, what the actual fuck?
The guy who plays Bill, right?
Yes.
I gotta remember his name. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. Give me a second. I'll grab his name real quick. It is. Oh, come on. I know who it is. Give me a second. IMDb. Make sure you cut all the silence here.
How do I fill in the silence? If you go to Walmart, you can buy Dr. Pepper and fuel your caffeine.
Nick Offerman. Okay. So Nick Offerman, right? So Nick Offerman, he played Parks and Rec. He played the guy in Parks and Rec. So everyone expects him to be like super manly and stuff like that. So he's not. He's super, super funny dude, super like loosey goosey with like he's not gay, but he's very understanding of how, you know, gay people are in life, and he's really chill with them. And he was in Will and Grace, and he was in a bunch of other shows that was pretty liberal, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So he's sitting there one day, his wife comes in, she's holding the script for The Last of Us. She's like, "You're gonna play Bill." He's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You're gonna play this character on this damn TV show. I swear to God, I'm leaving her ass." He's like, what? And so he reads the script, he's like, "I'm gonna play this part." And he does that part so damn well. And every time I watch an episode, I cry like a bitch for like a good solid 30 seconds because it just hits so freaking hard. And I'm like, it's so good. It's
I
beautiful.
think one of my favorite things about the show, all the main voice actors from the game are in it.
Oh yeah. At
one point or another.
Like Joel's voice actor is like one of the bad guys.
Yeah, so
in the Atlanta.
Marlena is still played by the voice actress from Marlena. It's the exact same character, same actress. The voice actress for Ellie is Ellie's mum. Joel is the henchman for the cannibals, which I the second I saw Troy Baker, I was like, oh my god, he's one of the cannibals. That is fantastic. That just so works. That just so works. Like, holy shit. But like, you know, because that was only 9 episodes long, I was able to binge it because it was all story. It literally, like, there wasn't even a beginning and end of an episode. It was beginning of the series to the end of the series with some commercial breaks in between. That's literally what it was. X-Men 97, that dropped. Each episode was really good. You know, people say that has one filler episode. And I'm like, well, not really, because the one episode you're thinking about is the one where it's half and half. Half is Jubilees, half it's Storms. But even the Jubilee episode kind of builds up her relationship with Sunspot, and then the Storm episode you kind of need to watch, so it's not really a filler. But I found 97 so good. I was so psyched for the next episode. Jesus. You know,
like we were watching as it was coming out, and oh my god, we were like, when's the next episode gonna drop? When's the next? Like it was during while we were moving too, so we like that's the first thing we had back up on the TV, so we could watch X-Men, because it was so good. And like literally the first thing we watched in this new house was X-Men 97. I will say another show that hooked me on really fast and was really fun to watch, Preacher.
I have not seen that yet.
I recommend it. It's really good.
I keep seeing clips of it on TikTok and stuff. I'm like,
this like I kept seeing clips of. I saw the Henry Starr, like how he becomes like Henry Starr. Yeah. That's what sold me on the whole show. Like it was ridiculous. I loved it, and I had to watch it. And because I had to watch it, I watched the first season, and it was really fun. I was like, okay, cool, and it just sucked me in. And there's like every season, like 13 episodes, like almost an hour long. And I just had to watch it. It sucked me in. It was crazy. Like I was like, oh, cool. I'm gonna watch like 2 or 3 episodes. I'm watching the whole thing.
Well, with X-Men 97, my dad group chat that we're in, I think every single week without fail, it came out on a Wednesday, and within 24 hours, it always repeated itself. Has anyone seen X-Men 97 yet? No, I'm behind. No, I need to watch it. Okay, fine. Soon as everyone's gone, yeah, I've watched it. I've watched it from Thursday-ish to about Sunday. That's all we talked about was X-Men 97. It died down for 2 days, instantly back up again because it comes out on Wednesday. For those like 9 weeks, whatever it came out for, that's all we spoke about was X-Men 97 because it was that good. Everyone was hooked. It took the fucking Marvel stamp really well. It did so good.
That show hit way harder than it should have. Like, it should not have been that good. If you ever seen the original like X-Men from '97, it's
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah, no, you
Like, I'm
compare
like,
the two,
okay,
like,
and I was like, oh, they're gonna make a new series. It's kind of like the old series. Okay, I'm gonna watch it because I've watched X-Men. I liked X-Men. It was fun. I'll watch this. It's gonna be okay. And like, I watched the first episode. I stopped the first episode. I was like, I need to go get Liz. We have to watch this. And she's like, I don't want to watch X-Men. I'm like, we're going to watch X-Men 97. She's like, fine. She remembers the show from like the 90s. It wasn't very good. She's like, it's going to be crap. I'm like, just trust me on this. Trust me. I introduced you to Venture Bros. You understand that my taste in cartoons is pretty good. You need to watch this. And so we sat down and we watched it. And we got to the scene where Magneto gives a speech, the very first episode, and it just like, oh shit,
yeah,
oh shit, oh, the second episode where Magneto gives a speech, and I'm like, holy shit, we have to watch the whole series. Is that made me like, I was trying to tear up at that scene because that was a man who just wanted to do right by his friend. That's all he wanted to do. He could take vengeance of the world, but he was not going to because he was going to do right by his damn friend. Oh god, so many gay overtones. Beautiful.
See, the second that got me, and I was like, okay, Marvel might actually be paying attention to us fans, was when the ship blows up and everyone starts falling, and Cyclone's like, I'll see you on the ground, and then he uses his lasers to catch himself.
Oh, that was such a cool scene.
I was like, oh my god, they did Cyclops right. Holy shit, they actually did something cool. It's like, oh my god, they might actually be doing X-Men correct. Oh my god, Marvel's actually right, I'm hooked. That was the scene.
Dude,
I know
like,
that's
that scene where he's like falling down and like stopping himself. I'm like,
dude,
yeah. I was like, okay, we're done. I'm watching this. That's a cool scene. Like when he's like fighting those people, the Sentinels, like fighting the Sentinel like people, and like just like moving himself back with his beam. Oh my god, fantastic! And then like I was like, cool. I'm here for this. All right, this is pretty fun, and just all in. I was like, okay, I'm watching this whole series. Like done. And then when Nito shows up, I'm like, oh my god, Daddy Nito's here. Like then he does, he gives a speech in this season episode 2, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta watch. Like that's it. Gotta watch it. This is brutally amazing. Yeah. And yeah, it was so good. So good. Then episode 5 happens. And episode 5, oh my god, episode 5. That should not have been that amazing. Like, I am mad at how good that episode was.
That should have been illegal. That's how good it was. Like, shit,
I was not prepared for it. So me and Liz sat down. I didn't know nothing of what happens. I avoided the internet the entire day because I wanted to be surprised. It was like, this show's so good. I want to be prepared. I did not want to be prepared for what's going to happen. We sat there and we watched it. And we got to the end of the episode. We just sat there like in shock for a good minute and a half. Just pure shock of what we just watched. And it was beautiful. Beautiful. I hate that it was so good that like it was so good it broke people for like a good solid 3 days. The internet could not stop talking about it. It was so beautiful and so good and so well made that every single scene had a reaction to it. Like you could just throw a scene up and people knew what was going to happen because like it just
honestly,
such a great episode.
I find it really strange how from like the early 2000s, like all the way till, I don't know, a couple of years ago, really, people were like, oh yeah, let's turn everything live action. We'd love to see everything in live action. Live action's such a good idea. And now all these really cool, badass cartoons keep coming out. We've got things like What If, 97, we've got Invincible, the Harley Quinn, and all this stuff. Everyone's like, now let's do everything animated, because animated is really good. They can do more things with animation. We've just gone backwards.
So, kind of, okay, so it went backwards because of two things. So back in like the early 2000s, right? It was really expensive to make animated stuff. Like animated stuff was super expensive to make because like everything was hand drawn. Everything was still hand drawn. They were starting to introduce digital animation. You can see that in like Bug's Life and like stuff Pixar was working on and DreamWorks were working on Shrek, right? That was CG animation, like computer generated imagery. Today, up till that point, up till very recently, like let's go with like when She-Ra came out, right? So She-Ra, a little bit before that, like Amphibia, Owl House, Star versus the Forces of Evil. Right around that time, like mid 2010s, like 2012, 2015, 2017, right in that era. What happened was there's software that came out that did cell animation really quickly. You could do it on like a digital pad quicker than you could do the whole like scene. Like you could do a whole scene within like 2 hours compared to a whole scene took like 4 days. So you
Yeah.
could become a lot faster. And when that became a thing, you can also notice when animation for like Family Guy, Simpsons, and like American Dad got better
Yeah, you can.
really quickly. That was when the shift happened. When those three big three was hit that, and it all changed. The animation became easier to make, and then we got more adult animation and better adult animation because they're like, oh hey, it's cheaper to make this medium. We're gonna get good people to work on it, and we're gonna get cool stuff. So we get cool stuff like Amphibia, Owl House, Star vs. Forces of Evil, Voltron, stuff like that. We get really good stuff because it's easier to make those things in cartoon and have these long, bigger, overarching stories that you could now have because it's easier to draw it out. Like, I'm pretty sure if they ever do the Expanse again, they ever do it, it's not going to be live action, it's going to be animation.
Yeah, fair.
Pretty sure. Yeah. So, like, if you look at anime, this is the same exact thing in anime. Around 2010, they changed from hand drawn to cells. You could notice the shift. Like the last, like 2009 was like the last time they were still doing hand drawn stuff. Right after that, you could tell.
So
Like you'll notice that. Yeah.
when I was living with my mother for a couple of years, I had to move back in. My sister started watching Family Guy from the get-go. And
Yeah.
I just kind of like tagged along, so like every night we kind of like watched a couple episodes. They're like I couldn't tell you what seasons they are, but we kind of like watched the season finale to one and watched the season like beginning for another season. And there's like such a difference. You can see that like between the two seasons releases, there's something that went on in there, like how they do it, and you could just clearly see the change. So yeah,
Yep.
they
It's
definitely
like season 5 or season 6 or 7, something like that. It's right after the movie.
yeah.
Right after the movie came out, then it all changed. Right after the movie, because like, they did the cell animation in the movie, and so they had already had all the assets. It's easier to move back over to TV show, and so that's when they finally changed over, and then it's different. So like it's in the Simpsons. Simpsons changed to like season like 12. They say just cell animation, something like that, and so you can kind of tell like stuff gets a little stiffer for a little bit, and then it smooths back out like as they get used to using the new software. Same thing happens in anime. Like you can go back and look at anime. Like there's really stiff anime there for like 2 or 3 years, and then after that it gets really good again.
Well,
Um,
I did some research for Naruto because I've watched. The only thing I'm not up to date with is Boruto. I've watched Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. I was like, alright, I just need to watch a couple scenes just so I know what I'm talking about, so I don't get things wrong. Blah blah. So I
yeah.
watched like Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, and even those two like are completely wildly different. Compared, like
This
Naruto
Naruto came
looks
out before the changeover.
it looks bad in comparison. Like I love Naruto, but Naruto the series looks bad compared
You
to
ever go
like
back
what
through and watch old
Shippuden.
Dragon Ball?
I'm not gonna have this conversation with you, Jim.
Yeah, go back and watch old Dragon Ball. Like it's real rough. You're like, oh, that's not fun to watch. Like same with Dragon Ball Z. Old Dragon Ball Z, like it's rough. Like you'll notice it real quick. Like old old Yu-Gi-Oh. Watch old Yu-Gi-Oh. It's really noticeable real
Yeah,
fast.
no, Yu-Gi-Oh is another one as well. If you watch like the far story arc of Yu-Gi-Oh, then compare it to something like GX, which came out like the second series of it. If you watch like the first story arc for that, there is like a huge difference, and GX looks cleaner than the first show as well, and things like this. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of shows that run on for ages. You can see the shift.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's you can clearly see it. And it just goes from hand drawn to computer animated. Right around the time, I want to say like early 2010s is when they made the shift over, and now we're in the we got 10 years into it, and it looks it's doing pretty good for what what they want to do with it, and all the stuff they can come out with it's going to be super great. Like there's so many good like new sci-fi shows coming out that are animated because they're animated. They can do all the cool, crazy sci-fi stuff they want to do without spending a butt ton of money trying to replicate it. I'm pretty sure the next Blade Runner movie comes out. I'm pretty sure another one that comes out is going to be animated. It's not going to be CGI. It's going to be all animated.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be easier to animate. Look at Cyberpunk's Edge Runners. Have you seen that?
I've seen some of it. Yeah.
It's all cell animation. It's all like almost all the cell animation, and they know how to do it now to where it all looks very natural. And all you have to do is make the assets. That's really about it. And like it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It's one of those best series I think I've ever seen in my entire life, because of how well it's done. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Yeah.
All right.
The
Go on.
The best way I can explain it, there's an episode in Bluey where they do the cell animation like live, where you see how it's done, and then like it took to do 10 minutes to do like a 1 minute scene.
Damn, fair play.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
It's
love
a thing,
to do
it's
animation.
happening.
I think, and like, if I could, I'd never do it, obviously, because it takes a lot of time and effort and money and stuff. But if there's one thing I'd love to do, it'd either be like professional voice acting or animation stuff, because I think that'd be like really dope. Like me and Mark and William spoke about like, what if we turned Power Rangers Global into like an animation? That'd be really cool.
I would recommend it, but don't call it Power Rangers at that point. If we start like making like bigger, cooler, like big things like that, shift the name from Power Rangers to like Cornwall Global or something like that, like something
Yeah.
less distinguished, because then you can get away with it for a while.
Yeah, sure.
Then you don't have the problem with legal stuff. But that would be
Power
really
Rangers
fun.
comes down
Like,
hard. This is not Power Rangers.
dude,
Copyright.
Hasbro's real suey, man. Like, be careful with Hasbro.
Yeah.
Like, that's my biggest thing about anyone working with something with the title Power Rangers in it. Be careful, Hasbro. Like, they're letting it slide for right now, but eventually they're gonna crack down on it real fast. You can be like, they're gonna crack down so hard your butthole's gonna like clench. Like, yeah, what happened?
Well, I did a reaction video to, I think it was like all of the theme songs or something, and it's not, that video's not allowed to be seen in Germany and somewhere else because of Hasbro.
Yep, that tracks. Yeah. Yeah, no, Hasbro will come back real hard on you real fast. Like, we have like our intro, like one of the intro bit we have like right now where it says, well, we're gonna find out who they are from Bulk and Skull. That gets copyright claimed all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, just be aware. Like, just keep an eye out for your stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, it's fine. Like, just heads up, about when Hasbro decides to bring Power Rangers back. Just be aware they're gonna crack down on all the little shows going on right now, like Unworthy and Western Strike and the pirate one that JP is working on. All of them are probably going to get hot copyright struck real hard, and if they're making any money on it, they're going to probably get sued out of existence. So it's going to happen.
Damn.
Just be aware. Yeah.
All right, Jim. Well, we've been talking for 2 hours and such. Well, actually, no, we've been talking for about 3 hours, but we've been recording this for a while. So I shall let you go. Thank you very much for coming onto the podcast. And
it was a pleasure, man. If you want me back, let me know. I'm more than happy to come back. And
I was actually going to say we should totally do this again at some point. You're definitely one of these people that we could just sit and natter about literally anything, and somehow it's entertaining.
Yeah, 3 hours later, you're like, I learned some things today. What did you learn? I don't remember.
No, literally, that's what's going to happen tomorrow. Fiance is going to be like, hey, how'd it go? Oh, yeah, it went really well. We spoke about a lot. What did you speak about?
It got, there was some things spoken about. Like what? Some things. What kind of things? Some things we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about it.
If you want to, promote anything or plug anything, this is your chance.
The one thing I'm working on right now is ZeotoHero. Like that's my brother's baby. That's the only children we're going to have is that show. So we're not very proud of it. Jesus. But if you want to check us out, Ability Level social media stuff, I make all the audio stuff happen. Like I make all the shows sound good, and the indie videos we do, I do all the stuff for it. So if you want to check us out, go check us out. ZeotoHero, ZETO. Hero HERO.com. You can probably find me on my other website. I'm eventually gonna pick it up. Chicks with Beards. And your mom to LOL. Oh, but no, go check us out. It's ZeotoHero. Where if you know Ty and I'm pretty sure he's talked about us at some point, and my brother's on here recently-ish. If you like Billy's stuff, you like my stuff. Billy's the funny one. I'm the one who says the messed up things.
That's actually a really good description of what ZeotoHero is. Yeah.
Yeah, Billy's like all this stupid stuff, and I'm like, dude, you're an idiot.
All right then, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Of course, if you're listening to us on a podcast platform, don't forget to give us a follow. If you listen on YouTube, subscribe, and of course, let us know down in the comments below about your opinions on anything that we've mentioned in the last 2 hours and such. Because me and Jim like to talk about all this wacky stuff, and of course,
yeah.
Jim,
If you say something messed up, I'm gonna come back and be like, bro. Like I'm gonna come back and do a whole hour episode of the stuff you said that was wrong. Be like, you're wrong. Good luck. This is how you're right. This is how I'm right. Because I'm gonna be pedantic about it.
That's a good idea. But yeah, Jim, you're more than welcome to come back again.
Yeah, just whenever you want me back on, just ask for it. I'll make time for you, man. Like I'm
Awesome.
more than happy to come back and talk shit for a little bit. It's fine.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, yeah, thank you guys for listening. Roar of Passion, everybody. Make sure you check out the 3rangerbrostudios.com, which of course is our website. We're kind of upgrading it now, so you can find all of our podcasts and YouTube channels and our merch stores and all that stuff. So that's a good place for you guys to go check us out. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Bye.
This podcast is a production of the 3 Ranger Bros Studios, in association with ZeotoHero the Podcast.